Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dropped Frames. Zeke is away burning at the man. So we
Burning at the man.
We got Dan and Strippin filling in for him. How's it going, Strippin? Welcome. Oh, what are you? Okay, just straight into it. What are you celebrating with? What'd you just crack open?
Thatcher's Cloudy Lemonade Cider.
Ooh.
Cloudy lemonade.
Cloudy? Yeah, what? Great question. Love it.
In England?
We're nailing the show so far.
We're doing a good job, Cole. High five.
In England, we have two kinds of lemonade. We have the lemonade that is like clear, and then the regular lemonade, like regular American lemonade, we call it cloudy lemonade because you can't see through it.
Because it's got so much sugar?
Mm-hmm. Well, they taste different, don't they? Like 7 Up.
I don't know. I've never had
7 Up. It's kind of like 7 Up is like lemonade for us. It's like see-through, right? We have two kinds of lemonade in England, and then we have
7 Up's not lemonade.
Is...
What the fuck? 7 Up, 7 Up.
Well, no, but like that consistency. Like we have lemonade that is like 7 Up without lime.
So it's like filtered lemonade.
Yeah, it's like clear lemonade, and then we have American lemonade. It's called cloudy lemonade here because you can't see through it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm 39 years old. I had no idea there were multiple types of lemonade. This is the first. I just thought it was lemonade.
Same.
I'm seeing if there's a better thing here.
Next, you're going to tell me gas is called petrol.
Okay, hold on. I've got Google is to the rescue. Cloudy lemonade, generally found in North America and India, is traditionally homemade drink made with lemon juice, water, and sweetened with cane sugar or honey. Clear lemonade is a lemon or lemon lime flavored carbonated soft drink. The type is common in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand.
Oh, it's like 7 Up then?
Yeah.
It's it's artificial.
That's why
lemonade.
He said 7 Up. Yeah, because it's like
yeah.
So 7 Up is considered lemonade there.
Well, we know it's lemon and lime. It falls under the category of lemonade. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
I get the logic.
Sprite is lemonade, right? Sprite is lemonade. And then
I've never thought about it that way,
like homemade
but
lemonade.
Sure. I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's citrus.
Yeah.
Seltzer. Yeah.
It's lemon. Yeah. It's lemony. Sure. Yeah. I guess. I just
like
in England, make a lot of sense over there.
That makes
we break a lot of
things
down.
Yeah.
Right. Like a cookie is a type of biscuit.
Okay, let's not.
Okay, now stop. Let's come on. Come on. Nope. Lost us. Nope.
Whereas in America, it's like everything's a soda and everything's a cookie. Like it's just your umbrella term.
JP, do you have a backup guest by any chance?
I don't. This is we scraped the bottom of the barrel. He was the fourth one we asked. Yeah, everyone else said no. They're too busy with video games. And Strippin said sure. Sorry,
man.
Dan, save us. Welcome.
Hi. I was out playing Pokemon Go all day.
Wait, really?
Nice.
Yeah, Pokemon Go Fest is this weekend.
What does that mean exactly?
They have like this big event once a year where you can go and like they have an extra shiny chance for Pokemon. Shiny means like the Pokemon has a different color look. It's like very rare. And there's raids where you can like group up people and battle these creatures and then try to capture them and then use them in your parties. This one was called Rayquaza, and they had its mega form for the first time. And so I was out trying to get a shiny, and I did get one.
A mega is not a shiny, right?
A mega is
Mega Rayquaza looks like this. It's like a little dragon.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
yeah.
I like it.
It's like super powerful.
So do you battle in that game, or is it just a collect game right now? What do you do in Pokemon?
The game is a lot different than it was in 2016.
Yeah, because I remember like seeing videos of Strippin out at the Santa Monica Pier trying to get a Blastoise or some shit with like 1,000 other
video
people.
Blew my mind.
Yeah,
it's like
very different nowadays. Back when it launched in 2016, it had only the 151 Pokemon. Now it has like many generations of them, and they have events constantly. There's raiding, there's like gym battling, there's all kinds of stuff. It's a PvP system. It's grown a lot over the years.
Huh. Okay.
Out of curiosity, have you ever considered streaming it?
I'm always like paranoid about streaming my location in real time with that kind of stuff. That's scared me about that. But it would be fun sometime if I could figure out a way to do it safely.
Yeah, like
the only people I saw streaming it were basically like they used software where they could be anywhere in the world.
All spoofing,
they would spoof and trick the game into thinking they were in Tokyo, and then they would take part in all the Tokyo stuff without ever leaving their room.
Is that bannable?
Then, it's
bannable, but
they all got taken out back.
It's it because it's like Niantic's not the best developer at certain things like that, so a lot of people get away with it for forever.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And there was like hundreds of people at the park too. They're
all playing
in big numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon's still a massive IP, right? So I'm sure it's got a player base.
And a lot of people they only play Pokemon. There's nothing else they play. Like it's like the one thing that they play.
It's their go-to
with their whole
thing.
family.
Yeah. And this was a special weekend that you said Pokemon Go Fest.
Yeah, Pokemon Go Fest. It's like once a year. It's both days on the one weekend, and it's like you're supposed to go to park and like they have all these bonuses and stuff like double experience, double candy, that kind of stuff.
Got it. Okay. Did you try did you try the Pokemon Sleep thing? Have you tried that?
Yes, I've been.
How is Pokemon Sleep?
The sleep tracker.
What? Hold on. Okay, you got to explain it now. Does that go on your wrist? What does that do?
So you're supposed to put this next to your pillow, and then you clip it to your pillow.
Okay.
You press down the button, and then you hear. It sings you a little lullaby.
Oh my god.
So you go to sleep, and this sits next to your pillow and like basically records you while you're sleeping. And then you wake up and you connect it to an app, and then it imports your data. And then there's a bunch of Pokemon that'll appear, and you can capture them and then feed them treats to try to get candy to level them up. And then you have a Snorlax that you have to like feed to make him big and fat. The fatter he is, the more rare Pokemon you get. I know it sounds crazy, but
it sounds like that's some crazy integration.
Yeah.
So do you do this every day?
Yeah, every day, and also this thing you can take with you, and it auto catches Pokemon in Pokemon Go for you as well.
That's awesome.
Oh.
So how does it help with your sleep? Like when it records you, I guess it's recording. Like what does the data do?
It records your movement because it does. You can also use your phone, if you don't want to use this thing, and it just like records sounds. So if you like snore or make noises, and also like records the vibration to tell like if you're tossing and turning or you're staying still. I don't know how it does it, but somehow it does.
Probably got a gyroscope. Or was that thing like $30-$40 to buy it?
$60, yeah.
Oh, that's definitely got a gyroscope in it.
Yeah, that's gyroscope in it.
Yeah, that's pricey.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't realize
that's really helped some people.
Yeah, it's cool. Track your sleep. See like if you have any like sleep problems, or like if you're sleeping all within the night, or if you're getting good sleep or bad sleep.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That thing would end up like across the room with how much I turned.
Oh, I've hit it so hard and I woke myself up, but flying across the room. Yeah. I have to like super clamp it down, or it won't stay there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, cool. Congrats on all the Pokemoning. I didn't realize you were that deep into the Pokemon world, but here you go.
Yeah. I've been like part of Pokemon since I was a little kid, and it's like something I enjoy just staying a part of even now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Oh yeah, man.
It's been a busy week. This past week, Gamescom happened. A bunch of games are still coming out. Games coming out this next week, and then finally we get a little bit of a slowdown after Starfield, and then it picks back up again in October, and then we get another slowdown after that. So we're in the thick of it.
Unless you're a Cyberpunk fan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it picks back up in October, and then it slows down.
Late September. And here's the thing. Here's what's even crazier. So not only that, they announced that the 2.0 patch may be out before the expansion. So for all the people that are like me that are planning on doing their second big run with the patch, we may be starting even earlier than we anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It should be a fun time regardless. For a lot of people, maybe jumping in. There's so many people I've seen like, I'm glad I waited a year for Cyberpunk that are jumping into
I don't
the first
blame them.
time.
Like, why play it when it's in a terrible state? Like when you can wait to play it for the first time when it's all patched up and working good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did a run this year modded, and I'd never played it before, and I loved it, and it was amazing. And I got quite near the end, and then everyone was like, the DLC's coming. Stop.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I'm waiting to finish the game.
Are you gonna
DLC actually adds a new ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it the canonical ending? Do they say canonical?
It is a canonical. It is one of the actual endings. Now, a little bit of interesting lore without spoilers. There are different endings to Cyberpunk, as everyone knows. There are some that people wanted that were not available. And the thinking is that the endings in the expansion are CDPR going, okay, you wanted an ending like this? Well, we're going to give you an ending like this. Yeah. So the hope, fingers crossed, is that it's a specific type of ending that we were not able to get in the first one. That is, I think, going to be potentially really cool.
Okay.
To be fair, it was the one I wanted. So yeah,
really?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Did we do a spoiler cast on Cyberpunk? I don't know if we did.
Nope. I was like the only person that did a big run on it, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding it when it came out, so I don't think we did
that's right. Yeah. I finished it. I got an ending, but it was just it is what it is, I guess. We never did. Maybe we'll do one for the expansion release if we all jump in and play that.
I would love to do that, especially if we brought on a person like maybe in Strippin's situation where it's like they only
never
played it. After like I think that's big. Yeah, be awesome.
As a streamer, I feel like that's rare to not have played it originally, because that was the game to stream, right? Like that was one of the biggest releases, I think, on Twitch.
I will say a lot of the things I modded into my playthrough, they are adding in the DLC.
Yeah,
well, the 2.0 is
like
huge.
Combat in vehicles, cops like actually chasing you, and all this other stuff. Super cool.
Yeah, they did like an hour. Did you watch that hour-long dev stream that they did?
I did. I watched part of it.
Yeah.
But they started getting a little like, it's kind of interesting because at the beginning it's like, we're not going to show you any spoilers, and then they're like, so here's the first area, and here are the first characters, and here's what's going to be going on, and here's what you're doing, and it's like,
yeah, it was they showed an hour of footage.
Yeah, it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stop watching this. But I did get through. Like, first of all, I love the new game director. He was like one of those people where, as he was being interviewed, he was having problems. Like, he was tripping over himself, how much he was trying to talk, and he kept going in directions where like, wait, can I talk about this? Can I talk about this? No, I shouldn't. Okay, can we talk about this yet? Like, he's very clearly somebody who really likes what he does, which I think is fantastic in our industry. Like, he was very much bleeding that passion, which was great. And everything I saw looked fantastic. The new area looks fantastic. The new characters sound interesting. All the changes they're making in 2.0 are in some cases sorely needed, and in other ways just like going to make the game a lot better. I'm very glad I waited to do a melee run, which is my next run, because they are adding so many toys for melee players. From being able to like block bullets while you run, to dashing around, to air dashing, to like new fatalities. Like, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, this is the trailer that was opening night live, so you don't have to worry about spoilers or anything like that. But it shows kind of everything that Co was just saying. So, Dan, are you gonna do a full new playthrough? You finished the original, right?
Yeah. It's
I say the original, but it's like a year old. It's
entirely the 1.0. The 1.0.
Yeah.
Just depends on how deep into Starfield I am, if I'm still playing at that time or not. But if I've finished by then, I'll definitely do another playthrough of this, because it was like there was a lot of really good stuff in it. It was just like you had to dig through some mess to get to all the good stuff. Like, there was a lot of bugs and issues and stuff. But when you found the good stuff, it was good. Like, there was some great writing and great characters and great ideas that just weren't all the way finished. And it was a shame. If it had another year, it probably we wouldn't be talking about it like this. Like, it just needed more time.
Yeah,
a diamond in the very rough.
Yes, I'm excited to see like this finally finished version.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be super fun.
Also, this game released 3 years ago. Chat was very quick to remind me, and that, God damn it, that hurts my brain. In fact, it's been 3 fucking years. It's not cool. It's not cool, chat. Don't remind me of that shit. Yeah, this was a big thing at Gamescom for sure. I think in terms of the lines to play, this was one of the longer ones. They're still happy for Cyberpunk, right? They still want to play it. They still want to get into it, and they want to see the expansion. And they're really touting it as like a 2.0. Like the game is re-releasing at this point.
Soft re-release.
Yeah, soft re-release. So we'll see how it goes. That is into September, right? The 27th, I think, is when that comes out. So we'll see what happens. There was a lot at Gamescom. We had the opening night live event happening on, was that Tuesday? think that was Tuesday. Keeley was out there. He got interrupted. Someone rushed the stage again. I don't understand how security was that slow to tackle someone after the last time, but that was a thing that happened. And then not really any like big announcements. I don't think. I'll pull up a game list and kind of go through all that stuff. But I think Strippin, did you watch it? I think me, Dan, and Co did.
I did watch it. Yeah, I did watch it.
What'd you think of it? I'll pull up the full game list and we can kind of go through the different stuff.
I don't know. Game show awards are weird for me because it's like I see something, I get excited, and then I see it again a year later at the next one, and I'm like, I remember being excited for this, and then now I'm excited again. But it's weird for me. It's weird. Like when things have a release date, I get excited. I get less excited. I think than I did 5 years ago because a release date nowadays is normally not necessarily a good thing. And it's kind of sad that that's become the staple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was pretty excited about some of the stuff.
Dan, what'd you think of Opening Night Live?
I thought it was like okay, like it had some good stuff in there. Like I was excited about Little Nightmares 3 because I liked the first two games a lot.
Yeah.
There was a few games in there, a couple like obviously ad sponsored segments to pay for the show, but it was all right. Like they had a couple good things. It was like as long as you weren't expecting big announcements, I thought it was like entertaining to watch for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Keeley was out there like tempering expectations too, and basically said like this is not going to be the crazy announcement, but you're going to get updates on all the games that you want to play type deal. And that's kind of, that's exactly what we got. I think some of the bigger announcements, Little Nightmares 3, which you already mentioned, Killing Floor 3 was in there. They showed, we got the live action trailer of Starfield, which was weird. They also opened up the show with, is it Einon or Enonzer? How do you? Enonzer? Okay.
Sure.
He performed that one. Sure. He performed a song from Starfield to open up the show. We saw. How do you guys feel about Crimson Desert? Strippin, you've played the Black Desert game. How do you feel about Crimson Desert?
I'm very lukewarm about it, and I love. I despise the payment model for BDO.
Right.
But I love BDO as a concept, and like that engine, I think is like really, really cool, especially for like PvP. I think where BDO shines is like Guild Wars, large scale PvP, just kind of like the flashy open world stuff. And this felt a lot more kind of on rails almost. I don't think it's meant to be. But yeah, it's like they took the engine and then they took a lot of what makes it great away and then said, here's a single player world to goof around in.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think having enjoyed BDO to an extent, like I said, the payment model was absolute garbage. It's very pay to win.
Yeah.
But having enjoyed it for the multiplayer elements of it, it's hard to envision the same world being single player. But that's me as a person, though. I'm not big on single player experiences.
Sure.
If I'm honest.
Sure.
I used to be a lot more. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably check it out. It feels like it's like it gives me Dragon's Dogma vibes, but without some of the things I love about Dragon's Dogma. Almost, It's trying to do too much. I think
there is a lot going on in the trailer.
These things, and it's like, yeah, okay, but in an MMO, I get that, but in a single player game, doing all these things is a lot. I think.
Yeah. I think obviously the visuals for the game are one of the biggest things for me. Like the game just looks gorgeous.
Amazing.
I thought it showed very well, but as the trailer went on, they just continued to show more like this. What is that? They just continued to show crazier and crazier shit. And it's like, what is going on?
This game has everything in it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Crimson Desert as I did the first time I saw Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if they actually pull this off, like if all of this stuff is actually in the game and it works, this game is going to be incredible.
Sure.
I actually saw this and got super hyped. Like I'm actually really, really looking forward to this game. This trailer put this game squarely on my radar. Horse drifting. But it's
that's in the
like
MMO, I think, right?
See, I never played the MMO.
All this stuff is in the MMO.
Okay.
My point is that they take all this stuff and put it in this game, and it actually all works, and it's actually all fun. This game looks like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if they're going to do that, but if they do, it's going to be freaking great from the looks of it.
Yeah. It looks wild. Again, the graphics for me are the biggest deal. It looks there. I see a lot of Zelda in this. Funny enough, I think that might just be because there's like Sky.
I think that was a lot of people drew that comparison. I think.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Wasn't super happy about that. That looked like super quick timey with that cutscene. I don't know like how much of this is actual combat. That looks like actual combat. Those scenes that we saw right before that looked a little like quick timey.
There'll be some QT stuff, but most of this is just combat. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like Zelda, right? This is Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah. The way they do combat is kind of like a fighting game. So you have like actual inputs for combos and all that kind of stuff. It's quite in depth. That's what if they're carrying it over from video. Yeah. It's very fulfilling.
Well, no release date at all. So that I feel like we've been seeing this for a while, or at least they've announced it for like the past year.
I think a couple years.
Yeah.
A couple of years.
Is it going to be a free-to-play game or a paid game?
That I don't know.
Don't know.
Well, let's see if they say. I think they would charge for it fully as like a single-player experience. But they might use it as like a check out this free single-player game and then play BDO if you want to continue it.
I'm worried that it's like a get you addicted to the features of this game and then give you the heroin that is BDO and then take your credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, this article from April 28th earlier this year is saying that it will be out by the end of 2023, possibly during the holiday season. They don't say anything about like pricing though. I imagine it'll be a $70 game or a $60 game.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if that was shipping free, but it looks cool. I think it showed very well. And it definitely popped up on a lot of people's radar. Payday 3, Strippin, you have played that. How is Payday 3? Is it delivering everything that Payday 2 fans want? And did the trailer do anything for you? It's good?
It's great. If you like Payday, you'll love Payday 3. It's just Payday.
Okay. That's short and sweet then. That's it.
Short and sweet. It's so much fun.
There you go. Easy. What else is there? A bunch of anime stuff. We saw Mortal Kombat 1. We got a new Mud Runner game from the SnowRunner folks, Saber Interactive. That looked pretty cool.
I'm excited for that.
I wish Zeke was here to tell us about his snow running experiences this past.
Zeke's no longer with us, and neither is his steering wheel. Put it that way.
Yeah. The steering wheel got thrown gently, as Strippin would say, or as Zeke would say. But
it kind of bounced off the floor.
There was a bounce. There was enough momentum there that we got a bounce off the floor. You can find that that clip out there. Last Epoch showed a new class, the Rune Master. That's coming out September 7th. I know me and Co are both big Last Epoch fans. Dan, have you played Last Epoch? Is like a PoE fan?
I think I played it briefly. I didn't get a chance to play it too much, but it's the action RPG where like every weapon has a skill tree and stuff. Is it every skill or every weapon, Co? How does Last Epoch break down?
Every skill.
Every single
skill.
Tree.
So every major skill that every class and subclass gets is its own spider web tree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I loved it. I love the customization, like how you can make combined skills to make like a crazy custom class. That one's going to be a really fun one to play.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I mean, it's a fantastic game to play, and the fact they're adding to it. I think we're all very much waiting for 1.0 with that. So
action RPGs are on fire lately, and I love it.
It is.
Like,
it's very good.
Oh yeah.
Grim Dawn even hinted that they're going to be releasing more updates for Grim Dawn soon.
Yep.
And then Titan Quest 2.
Yep.
That got announced. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good time.
It's a good time for ARPG fans, without a doubt.
Yep.
Speaking of ARPGs, Diablo 4 was there talking about season 2. The Season of Blood coming out October 17th. I was a little shocked to see that so soon. I guess that's not that far away. I mean, it's only a month, right? But kind of, it's weird to see them out there pushing the next season when I feel like that last one just launched. But maybe for a lot of people, they've already stopped playing it. And, you know, the game's conversation is where it is. So they're just trying to like move on to the next thing as fast as possible. I don't know. It was a very odd time trailer, I felt, from a marketing point of view, but maybe it'll get people interested in it again. Oh, yeah. Then they also announced Gemma Chan is going to be voicing the vampire hunter who was in that trailer. She's a big Hollywood actress. For those not aware, she's been in Marvel films and stuff like that. So that's a thing. I think that was all a little weird. For me, I think the most exciting thing they showed, or that was in Opening Night Live, was the Alan Wake 2 stuff. I thought that stuff looked fantastic. And maybe a little too scary for my likes. But yeah, I'll put up the trailer. Dan, you're the horror guy here. You do a month on it every year. How'd you feel about Alan Wake 2?
Alan Wake 1 was a fun game. But this one looks like they're just upping the ante in every corner, from horror to the graphics to gameplay. It looks like it's going to improve on just about everything from the first game, and I couldn't be happier, because Remedy as a developer has been getting better and better with each game. Like Control was really fun, and I'm just excited to see, like, because all their stories are really weird and creepy, and it looks like they're just going even more into their like creepiness with all these cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah, they're doing what they had, like some weird, not weird, but they had a terminology for it where they're blending like live action, kind of like what they did in Control. But this seems a little bit more seamless, where they're blending it into the gameplay.
Yes,
kind of like what you're seeing here.
Might even take control at some point, or like you'll be playing 1 second, and then you're in one of these scenes the next. I can't wait to see what they do, because they're such a clever developer at horror.
Yeah. I wonder how far they're going to push the spookiness, though, because this trailer gets pretty dark.
There's some stuff in there. It's like it's crazier than anything they've done so far. So it looks like it's going to be a scary game, which I'm all about.
Yeah. Control got there a couple times, but maybe not this much.
I hate being that guy, right? Because it's always like we never get enough. But I feel like he gave us too much.
What do you mean?
Like when he came up on stage and he talked about the game, and they went through the systems and all this other. I felt like he gave me for a game that's a big question mark.
Yeah,
he gave me too much info.
Like you're done. You're going on blackout now.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to anyway, but it's one of those, like, he was obviously very passionate about the game, and I was like, I guess he's allowed to say as much as he wants to, but it's like one of those, like, you know when people make a movie trailer and they show, like, the entire plot of the movie in the trailer?
Sure.
Or if you ever played Yakuza.
Yeah, I was like, hold some back for me. Come on. Just give me less.
Yeah.
Fair.
A little bit less.
Fair. I get it. I guess you're on blackout then for Alan Wake 2. Co, what did you feel about Alan Wake 2? I think you were already on board, so this pushed you over the edge.
I was already super sold. I mean, there was no edge. I was already in it. You know, like I love Remedy. I love Remedy. I loved Alan Wake. I was a huge fan of Control. I was super excited when I played the Control DLC and realized where it was going and what they were doing and what that probably meant. So everything at this point has just been more great stuff. So I feel like I'm one of the 17 people that really liked Evil Within 2. In the way that it kind of
really like that game, yeah.
I did, and the way that it really kind of entered the whole Mind Palace thing, and like, you know, and it feels, funny enough, like this is Remedy's Evil Within 2, where it's going to be like you never really know what's real. There's weird stuff going all around. You don't know if you're in the real world or this weird novel world, and like they're really, really good at that. I feel like Control in a lot of ways was kind of like them preparing for a game like Alan Wake 2. Yeah. So I'm there for it, man, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
I am curious to see if they hit on the world that they've built, because Control and Alan Wake take place in the same universe, right? Like that's Control is there's so many references to Alan Wake in that game. So I wonder if they're going to experience that or delve into that, or if it's just going to be purely focused on like Alan Wake and the story of Alan Wake.
It's also very interesting because what this means is technically that Alan Wake is like a small part of what Control is.
Yeah.
So not only will we probably see another Control in the future, and in fact, Alan Wake, very similar to the Control DLC, Alan Wake 2 may lead into, like, getting the artifact back into the Control. Like maybe Jesse's going to be at the end.
That'd be awesome.
Accepting whatever Alan Wake found and maybe even joining what they're doing. Like, who knows? But what this also means is that arguably any kind of cool artifact stuff they come up in they come up with in Control could have like its own story a la Alan Wake, like of how that artifact was found and created and how it influenced the person that found it and all that kind of stuff. So they have crafted a very interesting IP with this whole like reactive world where, like each story and item in Control, which there are, you talk about having hundreds of thousands of those items in Control.
Yeah.
Each one of those could be its own little spin-off IP, character, game, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
very cool.
Are they working on Control 2? Have they said anything about that?
I don't think they've announced it. I think kind of like Fallout 5, for instance. It's one of those things where probably people doing something behind the scenes, but right now all eyes are on their most recent project, which is Alan Wake 2.
Yeah. I would love
only one of the 6 people in the world that hasn't played Control yet. So I'm
you got to play Control.
Good time.
Yeah, it's a good time to do it.
Definitely do it before Alan Wake 2 if you can. Because not to spoil it, but there is stuff in Control that directly connects in very cool ways to what Alan Wake 2 is going to be. So it's a great precursor experience. The game's just great on its own too. It's just awesome.
Control is fantastic. It's also really good, like graphically. Like it'll push your system and do some cool stuff.
Someone just linked to my chat, by the way, a quote. I'm not sure where he got it from. But Remedy Entertainment has signed an agreement with 505 Games to co-develop and co-publish Control 2, formerly known as codename Heron, a sequel to Remedy's award-winning game Control. So it is already public.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Barry just said it's also got job postings on remedygames.com.
So go get a job on Control 2.
And then tell us all about it.
And then tell us how it's going.
Right. Leak to us all the information. There you
go.
Off
with you.
Exactly. Outside of opening night live, Gamescom was still happening. Some of the I guess bigger things, the news waves, as it were. Sven from Larian met with Phil Spencer, and they announced on the 24th. The tweet says that they've, quote, found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year. Still. Something we've been working on towards for quite some time. And it turns out that solution was money. Phil Spencer.
It's really weird how often that's the solution. And all sorts of problems and things. Yeah, crazy.
Universal problem solver. It's crazy.
Yeah. Phil just shows up and he's like, so we've got somebody. It's Sven's like, oh, yeah, I think we could do this here.
Sven's like, recently we've really gotten this new nice attraction to that after Baldur's Gate 3, so let's figure this out.
What's interesting is I think that's also what happened with Final Fantasy 14 as well. So it's
maybe
a pattern of the checkbook.
It was really go ahead.
Little bit of real talk though. I think there were, besides money, I think there were some alternate things. Like I think
it's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a larger deal, and more importantly, they had to make some concessions to make it like available as much as they wanted to. So, although I'm sure money was involved, there were other roadblocks that were not money related that had to do more with decision making.
Yeah,
that I think they finally decided on.
He had a follow up. Sven did, and this was talked about, I think, on one of their streams that they when they were asking why they weren't going to Xbox, and it had to do with split screen co-op. So it will have split screen co-op on the Series X. The Series S will not feature split screen co-op, but will include cross-save progression between Steam and Xbox Series. So this is the first game to break that system parity between the S and X, which has been a long sought-after goal.
From the sounds of it,
Xbox.
It's totally technically related. Like from the sounds of it, they just couldn't render everything into like, you run to two different parts of Baldur's Gate and the system just couldn't keep up with rendering the experience for both people properly.
Yeah.
Obviously not what they wanted, but it's better than it not coming to the Xbox. So they just, had to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. I think given the success is probably what pushed that, right? They want, if PlayStation has that, they want to have that. They want to have, the best games on their platform, etc. But it is interesting because now the question is going to be, well, what else is going to break system parity? Are they going to let every game launch with Series X features that aren't on Series S? It starts to come down.
I just imagine the next game. So we want to break parity. Phil says, no, we don't do that. They're like, yeah, but you did it with Baldur's Gate. Yeah, okay, you get 800K concurrence on Steam, and we'll talk about you breaking parity. How about that?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, okay, we'll fix it.
Yeah. There was, I think there was a tweet this morning from Xbox that said that they are going to try and push for split screen on the Series S post-launch. So maybe they're still going to attempt for that. I'm trying to find that tweet, but that's a lofty goal because there is, as Ko is saying, there is a pretty big difference in hardware between the Series X and the Series S.
Yes, and the thing is if you think about it with split screen, you're literally at that point like you're reducing the real estate, but the types and what you're rendering and everything is like kind of doubling the further you go away from each other. Like you're having to render more than you would in a single player experience potentially. So it's technically that I'm sure is an
yeah.
You can only do so much with that.
We haven't decided, at least as a show, chat, if this is going to be a spoiler cast episode, but all four of us have finished the game. I think everyone wrapped up. The three of you wrapped it up this past week around kind of the same day-ish. Dan and Ko both did single-player playthroughs. Strippin's playthrough was fully co-op. So they're very different experiences. If we do a spoiler cast, it'll be at the very end of the show, I would assume. But I can ask thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, how did you guys feel about the full experience? Dan, we'll start with you.
It was one of the best CRPGs I've ever played, and it would take a monumental game to ever unseat it from the throne because it was just so good. My only complaint with it would be Act 3 performance, but I know Larian will get it patched because they're very good at they did it with Divinity Original Sin 2. Like Act 3 was a bit buggy, a bit less than the other acts, and they got it patched up eventually and even redid most of it. So like once they get that fixed, I think it'll be a flawless game. It was just so good.
Yeah. What was your total playtime?
About 150 hours, I think, on Tactician difficulty.
Okay. All right. Ko, what was your total playtime? Were you around the same?
150-ish hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Strippin, do you remember your total playtime for the co-op playthrough?
Yeah, it was 100 hours to the minute.
100 hours to the minute. Nice. Mm-hmm. What did you think, Strippin? Co-op playthrough, obviously a lot different. I tuned into yours and was like, what the fuck is going on in this game?
Dude, it's a very, very different experience.
Yeah.
There's no companion stories or side quests because you're all four spaces are occupied by a player.
Yeah.
It's still the best CRPG I've ever played, no doubt. Larian, they have this history where they kind of enjoy pitting people against each other in co-op sessions, and that comes through again in this game to an extent, which is fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, causes a bit of friction and drama, but yeah, it's still an amazing experience. I think the ability to walk into a room and have four people clear the room definitely saves on playtime.
Yeah. Totally.
Like we would have one guy like look at a bookcase and he's reading the book, and while he's reading the book, like two of us are looking at a trap and one person is picking a lock, and our ability to just like work through puzzles as a group and all this other stuff. Where we got slowed down a lot was dialogue options, because we would have to discuss as a group, and I think combat was probably quicker because everyone only had to focus on one character, and then they had the entire combat to think about what they're going to do on the next turn, and so end up being a lot quicker than I think it would be if you were planning it as a tactician of 4 characters.
Yeah,
but still, it is a fantastic experience. I think it's unparalleled in terms of like co-op RPG elements. I mean, I would have said before this game, you'd have said, "What's the best co-op game?" I would have said Divinity 2. So they just improved upon an already successful recipe, but I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then you finished it up as well. Any
yes.
changed thoughts? I mean, we've talked about it 3 weeks in a row now.
I had a mid-game thoughts video and a final game thoughts video. The mid-game thoughts video was basically like, this is arguably one of the best games I've ever played. It's one of the most immersive experiences. This is amazing. I love it. It's absolutely awesome. And the end game thoughts video was pretty much the same, except Act 3 definitely needs some love.
Yeah.
The big thing is the first part of the first couple parts of, and I'd say Act 1 and arguably 99% of Act 2, it's so well done that it creates this like CRPG paradise of like, no matter what you do, it's okay. Everyone's reacting to everything. Very few bugs. No matter how you approach stuff, it'll complete in an interesting way, etc., etc. Act 3 is mostly like that. I mean, Rivington was pretty tight. You go into the city proper. It was, as you get more and more to the end, and especially like the very end, the facade starts to fall apart a little bit. You know, characters all of a sudden start talking about things you haven't done yet or that you did differently. A character starts repeating the same dialogue over and over. A character doesn't acknowledge, this happened multiple times. You would do something big in the game, no one would talk about it. And it felt weird. There were multiple situations where I was like, no one has anything to say about this? Like, really?
Yeah.
Or they would talk about it at different times. So the short of it is it's still phenomenal. Still feel it's one of the best CRPGs of all time. Still feel it's one of the best games of all time. But it definitely, for the entire experience to be amazing, it needs a little bit more time. And again, the very ending, like I had like a few very weird things happen at the very end of the game that just completely like, oh God, really?
Did anyone have a bug where you had someone extra in the final fight, or was that just a neat? Oh, that happened to you as well.
No, you're talking about now. There's a particular character that's kind of interesting, like an accentuating of this whole thing, and it has to do, we think, with the content, which is a whole nother discussion to have.
I know why the bug happened. I don't think it's what you're saying.
Okay. I'm talking about and no spoilers, but because obviously this is going to happen in a game like this. But I'm talking about a part near the end of the game where there's like a Braveheart speech character, and everyone's like, "Who the hell are you?" Like, what is?
Oh no, I know exactly what you're referencing. Yeah.
So that and what's funny enough is, and just to let you guys know, like the little stuff I ran into that kind of made the facade crumble. So here I am at this last part of the game. This happens in every game. This isn't a spoiler. You're at the end of the game. You're surrounded by people you love and know. Everyone is told you, let's do this. It's the big ending. I accidentally picked up an item that was marked stolen in that room, and they all attacked me. Literally in the room before like the end boss. I picked up an item that looked interesting, and one of the characters that just told me how amazing I was like, "I'm sorry, you're gonna need to pay for that or go to jail or attack." And I was like, "Attack!" And then everyone around me went aggro. And I just looked down and I was like, this is not.
That happened a lot to me in Act 3 as a 4-player thing. When doing 4-player co-op, if anyone touched anything, it was like everyone went to war against you. Everyone. And it was unfixable. And it was
here's the thing.
It was too much. It was too much.
Everything I ran into in Act 3 can be patched. All the meat content, all the big events, the location, the city itself, 9.5 to 10 of 10. Like, no question.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing where people keep asking me, when is your next playthrough? I'm like, I'm giving it a few patches.
Yeah.
Because when I play this game again, I am almost unequivocally convinced that if there's one company that's going to turn this into something amazing, because we already saw them do it with DOS 2. And DOS 2 is arguably in a lot worse state on release than like a Baldur's Gate 3, like a lot worse. Larian's going to turn this into the masterpiece it deserves to be. It may take him 6 months. It may take him a year. Who knows? But
they have a history of definitive editions, right? Like it's with Divinity 2, they had all this cut content, and they were like, and it's like almost 1 year to the day. They're like, here's the definitive edition, and it's just so much more stuff.
Yes.
Things they wanted but couldn't get done. A load of polish.
And the last thing I'll say, because I've confused some people with my critiquing of Baldur's Gate 3. You can wait, and if you can, I'd recommend it. But nothing I've said doesn't say that what's there is still amazing. Like, yeah, you're going to get some bugs and some weirdness at the end of it, but it's still, to me, like, in its current state, if they didn't do another single patch to it, it's still an incredible game, still worth the playthrough. And by the way, if you play it once now, you can play it completely differently the next time you play it. There's so many different ways to play it, which is
different game.
Exactly. So if people are like, do you not recommend the game now? I'm telling you what the game is like and saying, you make the decision. But for me, it absolutely is worth playing right now. It's just fine to play in its current state, especially Act 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are solid as a rock. They're great. So Act 1 is a literal masterpiece. It is a masterpiece of gaming. So
one thing I was told that seems super plausible is that a lot of the bugs in Act 3 are caused by cut content and then the code interactions that are trying to happen with content that no longer exists, which checks out, I think, a lot for me.
Because you think they removed it launch?
I think they removed stuff and they didn't have time to cauterize the wound. And I think a lot of the bugs come from interactions that would segue into something that doesn't exist anymore.
Sure.
And so that's like Ko said, that's something that's really easy to patch and fix and make seem more whole.
Yeah.
Like, for example, they cut the exhaustion system from the game that was going to be in the game. So that's why your characters will sometimes say, wow, I'm tired, I need to rest. But there's no debuff or anything because
it confused the hell out of me. I know.
Yeah, there's literally a slot on your character for belts, and there's no belts in the game. It's just things like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's astounding to me that there's 150 hours of content by playing the game one way. That's not including the other 50 ways you can play the game. So there's potentially thousands of hours of content in this game, they had to cut things from it.
Yeah,
that's how much content there is.
I'm sure you guys have had similar experiences with just different folks that you've talked to playing it, but my wife has been playing, and kind of after every session that she has, 4 or 5 hours, she'll be like, yeah, I went and did X, Y, or Z, and I'm like, oh yeah, how'd that go? And then she'll tell a complete opposite story from my experience with said creature, environment, whatever. And that is just, that's held up for about 40 or 50 hours of her playthrough now. Where it's just been completely different from everything that I experienced. And so that's why I'm hesitant to actually do a spoiler talk, because if we are going to if you guys are interested in playing a second playthrough down the line, if Dan describes his experience to Ko, or Strippin describes his experience to Dan, they might just spoil that entire side of another playthrough. Because we were all so different in how we approach things. And again, I will reiterate, the co-op playthrough that Strippin did was fucking scorched earth. There were just things that happened where I'm like, how did you get here?
The thing is, when you guys play the game and you make a decision, all of your companions give you feedback on your decision, and I think it kind of molds how people play in a single player experience, because it's almost like if you like a companion, you want to please them, and I think that kind of dictates what you do. We don't have that as a group of 4 people.
No,
it's just they don't have a problem with this. No, we're doing it. And so we made a lot of very morally gray decisions, and sometimes we went too far in one way, and so sometimes we made a really poor decision, and we were like, well, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. Because it's very tedious to save scum when you have 4 players.
Sure,
it's there's a lot. So we kind of made the decision we're not going to do that. Whatever we get, we go with. And so there were a lot of times where it just went horribly wrong, and we were like, well, that's how it's gone. Guess we'll replay the game another time and see how that could have been.
Companion wise,
that was the opposite.
You had 3 people left in your camp, right?
Yeah, no, we
Three?
We made we made the decision early on. We made a decision early on that we didn't want to explore the stories of the companions because we were never going to use them.
Right.
And so
because you all made custom characters.
Yeah. And so like it started off as let's leave them in camp. And then it started off as they keep bothering us when we go back to camp, and they keep kind of fucking asking us for stuff. Let's.
But hold on, you slept with all of them still, because I know those cutscenes exist.
No.
Was it like Old Yeller, where you all would like pick one and take him out back, and then like come back and be like, "All right, Asterion, let's go out back for a chat real quick."
One of my friends, Joe Fudge, bless his heart, he's a fantastic DM, and he played a bard, and he was like, "I'm gonna fuck a dragon. I don't know how, I don't know where. I'm gonna fuck a dragon in this game." So he kind of decided, I'm not interested in the companions. That's easy mode. So we kind of went in like, we don't want to sleep with the companions. That's too easy. We need to find other people to sleep with. And so it transitioned into, let's kill all the companions. So throughout our playthrough, we had to just
That's kind of a jump stripping.
I mean, I don't know how we got there. But throughout our playthrough, it kind of evolved into, how do we kill this companion? How do we kill this companion? If we do this, do you think the companion will disappear? And so we got to this point where we only had 3 companions left. And the only reason we had 3 is because one of our players grew a little bit attached to one of them and like made a different choice. And apart from that, if he hadn't have been, because the rest of us were all down to kill that one too, we would have had none, I think.
Man,
wow.
I am
very, very unique.
I'm going to throw up the spoiler hand. So everyone take your headphones off. Because I do want to say something about Strippin's playthrough that blew my mind, because I'm sure we all experienced a completely different thing. So when I put my hand down, spoilers are off. You have a warning. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you go to the vampire fight at the end of the game for Asterion, right? That whole encounter. I'm watching Strippin's playthrough, and they're like going down there, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. I can't wait to see like what they do with this and what decisions they make. They start the fight, and in the back center is Asterion, but it's not Asterion. It's zombie Asterion, because they fucking killed him, and he's not even Asterion anymore. They gave him to the vampire hunters or some shit. And the vampire hunters just
that is amazing.
The vampire hunters were like, yo, I'm looking for Astarion. And I was like, shit, I know him, homie. He's in my camp. Go have him. So he took him, and we were like, that's done. And then later on, we were like, we found all the dead vampire hunters, and someone said, oh, a vampire killed them all and took Astarion's corpse. And then when we got to the fight, he had re-raised them, and it was a zombie Astarion.
And then
that's amazing.
They walk out of the fight, and all of the vampire children are dead. They didn't even try to save them. They just murdered everyone.
We didn't know that when he transforms, they all explode. So we were like high-fiving each other, ready to hit the showers. A great boss, well done. Went back through the building, and it was just, there was guts everywhere, all over the walls.
It's insane. Anyways, it was a crazy.
It's not my fault.
No, I'm just saying, completely different experience from mine. Yeah, I'm putting my hand down.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely insane. That's Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep.
What else happened? A bunch of things. We didn't even talk Stalker, Cody. I'm sure you saw the trailer. How are you feeling about Stalker 2?
Oh, it looks great. I mean, it looks like more Stalker. I think it looks fantastic. I think a lot of people are expecting it to like look a little maybe better, like more AAA, but I think a lot of people don't realize like where Stalker came from. Like I had some people say that some of the interfaces looked a little rough and things like that, but funny enough, the interfaces looked like homages to the original Stalker trilogy, so yeah. I thought it looked fantastic. But no, I think it looks great. I think it looks like it has everything in the game that I expect from a Stalker game. I love seeing updated models of enemies that I've killed like 1,000 times in the previous trilogy. Everything about this looks fun and interesting. And I was already hyped for it, but seeing it like actually in front of you is just, it's incredible. I cannot wait to play this game.
Yeah. To me, like it's Stalker. Like it's got the vibe of Stalker through and through. Even down to like almost the animations and how like everything is. I haven't even played the game to completion, but I saw this like, yeah, that's Stalker.
One thing I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about it, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's very strange hearing non-Ukrainian accents in this game. The fact that your character is like just a straight up NA accent, it was very weird for me because I've never hear that ever in the original Stalkers. No characters talk like that in the original Stalkers, even the ones that speak English. So that was a little strange. Like, it was a little weird. It makes me wonder, like, I kind of hope they're not going to have like a whole cast of that. That would be kind of immersion breaking in a lot of ways for me. So I don't know. I don't know if you're
purposes.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's kind of a situation where maybe you're like a U.S. special services guy that's there for some reason. Like, maybe there's some kind of big story related thing. But if it's the kind of thing where every NPC and every character we talk to in there is going to have like a flat NA accent, like, that's going to be a little strange.
Especially because the name of the game is Chernobyl, right? It's
Stalker Shadows of Chernobyl. Yeah. And pretty much everything takes place in the zone, which is around Chernobyl. So yeah, it was a little strange. But I have read that there's a lot of like mercenary activity in this one. So maybe it's just you're an NA merc group that's there for some reason. Who knows? But yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that was a little strange about it. Everything else looked chef's kiss, man. It's great.
Did you happen to see that video floating around of the Stalker dev when Phil Spencer walked up with Todd Howard right next to him, and they just started playing Stalker as the dev was watching him? Yeah, it's kind of a remarkable video.
I'll have to find that.
Just to see those two walk up to your booth and like play your game has got to be a like drop everything, go talk to the boss. It's like, oh shit moment. And then Phil immediately died right afterwards. And the guy was like, we're not, it's a hard game. We're not pulling any punches.
The zone is brutal.
Yeah. It was cool. Definitely look for that if you're a fan of those devs on Twitter. What else was there? Tuesday morning, right before the GamesCom opening night live stuff started. Were we all sponsored for Destiny? They went like all out, I think. Strippin, were you doing a sponsored stream for Destiny that morning? Okay, yeah. We were all sponsored to watch the Destiny thing. I think I don't say this as like I'm the only one that plays, but I play a lot of Destiny. The three of you don't. Having not played Destiny, I got to know, what the hell did y'all think of that showcase? Because it was not like... That was for people that played Destiny, and so going into that, were you guys just like, what the fuck is going on?
I gotta be honest. When this was pitched to me, it made, I was put in a position where I felt like there was going to be something at the thing that was either to try to bring in new players or to bring in people that don't normally play. Like, I thought, my guess was that they were sponsoring all these non-Destiny players because they were going to announce something to try to bring them into Destiny.
And they did.
They sort of.
But you have to have played Destiny to know that.
But not only that, what they did was announce a giant final thing that seems to be a literal homage to people who have been playing the game for 10 years.
Right.
So it was a little weird. Now, personally, we have a Coalition clan in the game. My mods play. I know literally hundreds, if not thousands of people in my community play Destiny regularly. It's a popular game. So I was like, sure, I'll watch it. I mean, they're going to have something to watch anyway, and I'll just, hang out for a while. It's a sponsor stream. Sure. But no, I was a little surprised. I definitely was expecting there was going to be something for non-Destiny players, a bit of a carrot on a stick.
Same.
So to me, it was kind of funny enough, the opposite, where it was like, not only was there not something to bring in new players, but they were basically showcasing content designed to cater to old players.
Right.
So I'm guessing we're just seeing this because it was like the last big thing and they just wanted as many eyes on it as possible.
Maybe. Yeah. Historically, they haven't done, like, Destiny has not done very many sponsored streams. So I was in your camp as well when they reached out, and then I started, talking to you guys like, hey, are you doing this Destiny? And then like I saw the amount of people that were sponsored, which was a very massive amount of Twitch, like a huge push marketing campaign wise. We're sponsored for that. I went into that thinking like they're about to drop some like crazy huge announcement. And it was like, no, the announcement was that you can join your friends now because it's going to bring your light level to the highest light level in the party. And if you don't play the game, everything I just said was fucking gobbledygook. Like that doesn't mean anything to you.
I missed that.
Yeah, that was the big announcement. Was like you could just jump in with your friends who put in countless amounts of hours and see the raid.
Yeah, I probably should have.
Yeah.
During the presentation, they like were going over the whole story of the whole like first game and second game, like all the cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, this looks so cool, but I don't know who that is or why they're doing this or what's happening here. But it looks really cool, and I'm into it. I just don't know what's going on. It's like jumping into a soap opera like episode just randomly. Like you see all these people yelling and screaming, and you don't know what's happened. You don't have any context.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the same camp. I was expecting Destiny 3 announcement. I'm like, oh, here we go. Destiny 3. It's going to be announced. Everyone's sponsored.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, okay, this is good for Destiny players, though. But as someone who doesn't play very often, I feel like I'd be lost if I just jumped in right now.
Oh, absolutely.
For the most part, yeah. It would, but like I was hoping they'd have at least something like we're going to re-release the first part of the game as like a catch-up, like series of missions or something. But
yeah,
they only had like a couple of those.
They kind of did that. Yeah, they put in like I think it's 4 missions at this point. You can go back and do like old content through this like timeline thing for important moments that have happened through the Destiny 2 campaign. But this is like 4 missions through, I don't know, like 6 expansions or 5 expansions or something like that, right? Stuff that is very huge, but it's like reading a chapter in a fucking 40 chapter book. It was really interesting watching that with Burke and Gassy Mexican, who don't play Destiny, and I was doing my best to try to explain the story as those cutscenes were happening. I think they started and were interested, and by the end of that 30-minute thing where I was just nonstop talking, they were like, "What the? What is?"
I was just kind of glazed over.
What the hell is going on? What is?
I will say, I actually loved the pre-show thing where they were just like going over all the major events and like little blurbs and like I as somebody, like one of the things I like about Destiny is the lore. I think the world and the lore is cool. So it was fun seeing all that stuff. And kind of I felt like that was an interesting little, very broad and top level, but it was a nice little catch up. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah. It's weird. Sam,
I did not feel like this was for new players. I felt like this was for casual Destiny players and Destiny players that have quit. Because I fall into that camp, and Destiny historically has been incredibly punishing to people that are not willing to get sweaty in PvP, don't have a raid group. You just miss out on every part of the game they care about. They haven't had a new PvP map in like a year. The community generally was like pretty unhappy until this announcement. I don't know if they still are, but like I saw a lot of like negativity from the Destiny community on my feed often. And like I'm one of those people that would like, I'll play Destiny, I'll do the story of that expansion, and I'll quit. Right. Yeah. And mainly that was because I didn't have the time to dedicate to grind up and do the raid. Because the grinding required for light level, you're not only grinding light level, you're grinding gear at the same time. And it's all this just to get ready for like that raid 1 raid day experience. And if you don't do it then you miss out on like a key feature of that expansion, because once someone beats the raid, it changes. Everything changes. And so it's like
sometimes,
you kind of there's like this element of FOMO where it's like you have to kind of participate in that like initial push, or you kind of maybe miss out on something. And so I got really frustrated by that element. And then so when they were like, hey, you can go up to the light level of your friend. For me, I was like, that actually interests me because I don't have to grind as much to like do the raid or like play with friends. And they kind of like ticked boxes that had made me quit. So I'm interested in the stuff. I feel like those changes were kind of tailored to people like me who have played the game either casually or like have quit because they just couldn't handle the grind. So that's kind of what I took away from it. I think as a new player, you wouldn't know what the hell is going on.
No, Tally jumped in. He's been playing the past like 3 or 4 days as a completely new Destiny player. And day 1 of his Destiny 2 stream was watching Biaf's 5-hour lore video to try to understand what the fuck's going on in the game, to like prepare him for Lightfall, which is the current expansion. Is to watch a 5-hour long video outside. I mean,
one of the big things is Cade 6 coming back, and if you haven't played, that means nothing to you.
Yeah.
And the light level going up is if you haven't played, it means nothing to you.
Yeah.
You know,
if you played when Cade 6 died, That's like, oh, cool. If you played, when the light level was a grind and you got tired of it, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah. I don't think it's for new people at all. I think
it's tough.
I think,
sure.
And I gotta
this
admit,
is a contained experience, but it's not. You still need to know everything.
The whole thing is just going to be sad, I think.
What do you mean?
Because the whole thing
like Destiny
about
2 will be said, or
no. I mean, and I guess are these spoilers since it was in the Destiny reveal thing? I don't know if it's should we talk about what we saw in that? Does that matter? I know some people avoided it.
Not really. I mean,
okay. So they hinted at Cade
throw a tentative hand.
We'll throw a tentative Destiny 2 hand up.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. They hinted at Cade coming back, right? One of the most iconic level characters, et cetera, et cetera. But they made it very clear that you're going into the Traveler, and the Traveler is like creating your memories. So it's kind of like, Cade isn't really coming back, dude. This is just kind of like him just coming back and saying, "Yo, he's not being revived. It's just fan service." Yeah. Which is kind of sad because I love the idea of him actually coming back. It's not that at all, man. It's just his ghost.
Yeah.
And I use that term both, you know what I mean. But
one of the worst writing decisions.
It's just a little echo.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Was killing Cade.
Oh, they recognized that tenfold.
It made me quit the game.
Yeah, it pissed a lot of people off. I mean, Nathan Fillion stopped doing the role because he had to go film The Rookie, right, on like CBS or whatever. That's why they probably did that. But you're 100% correct that it actually pissed people off when he died as a character.
Like there are so few beloved characters in this franchise, and then you one for shock factor.
Yeah, and it's Nathan Fillion, man.
I don't agree with that. Nathan. What have you done? It's the star of my show.
Yeah. And Co, you're 100% correct. There's no way that we get out of that expansion, and he's like alive.
Like the whole that's the vibe I got from the entire show. It's just like, this is the end, and this entire thing is structured so we can walk you through everything we've done through these memories, and then we'll have a final event, and then we can reset for this new thing we're doing in this new system, this Echoes thing that we're doing 3 times a year. It's very much just it's a goodbye.
Yes,
is what it is. It seems like the entire thing is an outro / goodbye.
Which is fine.
Okay, but what if?
Yeah. Oh God.
What if anything made in the Traveler? Because based on the fact that we pick up new guns and shit inside,
stays.
Anything made there becomes real. Stays.
Maybe
he can just walk out.
I think Strippin, keep reaching for those stars, buddy.
I think I should be hired for those. I think I should be hired as a writer on the game, because the only way people come like me came back is if Cade walks out of that fucking Traveler. And if you're watching Bungie, you've been warned.
There you go.
Because if he doesn't come out of that Traveler, neither do I, motherfuckers. Okay.
I will say
the rest of my Hunter boys, they're staying in too.
Yeah. If they do somehow lore-wise have him be created in the Traveler, but then be able to get removed from the Traveler at the end, I think that would be one of the best moves they could. If it'd be even more funny if he was aware of it, where he's like, I started as a memory of Cade, but what am I doing still here? Oh, guess I'll have to keep being Cade now. Oh well, it's like that. That would be hilarious and kind of awesome too.
Yeah. We'll see. It was definitely a strange experience to to see all the sponsored stuff for me.
You know what?
What?
I don't think they're gonna do that, and I think they're gonna kill him again.
Yeah. Well, so here's the funny part is when Cade 6 dies, it wasn't even Nathan Fillion voicing those lines. He had already left the role. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was.
That's what I mean. They could have just kept going.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Or what is his name? God damn it. He was opposite Troy. It was Nolan North, who was voicing Cade 6 at that point.
Okay.
And so that's when he died. So that might be what they're doing here is giving Fillion the ability to actually say goodbye as that character, but I don't know. We'll see. It all comes down to is Nolan or is Nathan Fillion willing to step into that role full time and constantly record lines, blah blah blah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I've been playing the league. They're not called leagues. The season.
PoE brained.
Yeah, I'm PoE brained. I've been playing the season every night this week for about 4 or 5 hours, and it's fine. I've always enjoyed Destiny. It's a great grind to just pop into, put something on another monitor and kill things, right? Like that's what I enjoy.
No streaming it?
No reason to stream. Viewership for Destiny is like, it's a weird game to stream because the people that want to watch Destiny watch the specific people that stream Destiny, and that's it. Like they don't go outside of those streams.
There are certain communities where like variety does not succeed, and Destiny is one of those. Like Destiny viewers are extremely generous to Destiny content creators.
Yeah,
but if you come into that directory as variety, they'll be like, "Hey, welcome," and that's kind of it. They'll just go back and watch,
and then they'll leave and go get the information they're looking for. Because, the people, those streamers are more clued into it, where it's like the viewer can be like, "Hey, when did the last Vex incursion spawn?" And the streamer will immediately be able to say like, "It was X minutes ago, so get ready because it's spawning in X minutes." Whereas I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have a Discord bot that's like timing this shit out for me every minute. Maybe I'm gonna go do it.
It's the ability for the content creator to answer questions versus the ability for the content creator to just nonstop ask questions that will irritate the audience, and that's what I do when I play Destiny.
Same.
I'm like, where do I get this gun? What do I do?
Yeah. So won't be streaming it. We skipped over this, but I don't know. Was the Rogue Trader stuff part of Opening Night Live, or was that outside of Opening Night Live?
That was the IGN.
Oh, that was the IGN thing. Okay, yeah. They put out the companion trailer, which had all of the companions. Is this considered spoilers? Code?
Not really.
Okay.
No,
right,
I mean, like I think the thing about this is Warhammer 40K fans, I think, are super excited to see what type of Warhammer people they're going to be able to play with in Rogue Trader thing. So I don't think it's too much of a spoiler. It doesn't really talk about who they are, or their motivations and stuff. Just kind of like what they represent in the Warhammer universe. So companion trailer was awesome. I have to admit, I was really hoping for a release date. I thought that was what they were teasing, not necessarily the companion trailer. But I mean, the companions look awesome, dude. They're incredibly varied. There's lots of different kind of interesting factions they're bringing in from the Warhammer 40K universe. Oh man, this game is going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
so much fun.
They also confirmed co-op.
They did.
Yes. Which I'm sure. Are you planning on doing a co-op run, Strippin?
I would have to find someone suitably into it for
Warhammer pilled.
Yeah, it's a little tougher.
I wouldn't want to bring a normie. I need to find a fellow Warhammer pilled.
I think
to go in with.
Baldur's Gate 3 is this interesting phenomenon because it's so rare. We get like a fully mocapped, fully really well voice acted BG, CRPG. So it offers this veneer that brings in so much more audience that would normally play that game. But now with Rogue Trader, we're kind of back to the normal. Like, hey, do you like reading? Because we got lots of reading. It's like, so
you like Warhammer and lore and reading.
Yeah. So this, I mean, where CRPGs are still a niche, this is almost like a niche of a niche. It's like you're kind of double upping on it a little bit. So there's no way that Rogue Trader is going to be as big as Baldur's Gate 3 by any stretch, but it's still going to be an absolutely phenomenal game.
I do think a lot of people would have, if Baldur's Gate 3 is their first CRPG, they'll be like, oh my god, I actually love this genre. And then there might be a lot of people that want to check this game out. So I think they'll definitely see a lot of success just coming off the back of Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
Which would be cool.
There is no question that it's the first hit is free situation.
Yeah.
Yep. Where it's like, I think a lot of people are going to realize that they really love CRPGs, but they never really wanted to give them a try because of the barrier of entry that normally is there. So it's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Dan, where are you at in the Warhammer fandom? How do you feel about Warhammer?
I'm the type of person, I'm a normie. I've only played some games and stuff. I don't know too much of the lore, but everything I've played and read looks really cool. Like I played a lot of the Total War Warhammer games and some random ones that I feel like every other month there's another Warhammer game coming out of some variety. But they've all have really insane characters and lore and races and stuff, and it fascinates me. I'm like, I want to get more into it because it just seems like such a fascinating place, and I see why people are obsessed with it because everything.
That's how I got into it. There was a Warhammer game I really liked the look of, and I was like, but I know nothing about this world, and so I started doing a lore binge on stream, and people would like send me videos to watch, and then that's how I learned about everything. I just did it on stream with chat because I wanted to play a Warhammer game.
Yeah, every time I asked about a character or something, like, who's this Emperor guy? Why is everyone so crazy? Like, people would be like, wait, he's what? he's half dead.
Yeah, I made the mistake.
Takes 1,000 souls every day.
We like to joke.
I got so into the lore that I never played the game that I had intended to play. The whole reason I did the lore.
I like to joke about Warhammer fans that like you don't want to ask them a question about the lore because then it's like once the cork's been removed, you can't put it back in, and it just nonstop just spews for like hours and hours and hours about. It's like me with like Final Fantasy 14 or Kingdom Hearts lore. I just won't shut the fuck up about shit. And there's so much, like it's so dense. Like Strippin watched, like you just said, like what 6 hours of videos or 7 hours of videos on like one dude
a day.
Yeah, and yeah, it's very dense.
It's like today. Do you want to learn about this faction? Here's 4 hours of videos.
Right.
It's one faction of one. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This all started as like a tabletop game in like the 80s or 70s. Like it's very old franchise, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Very much centered in like I think it spawned in the UK, right? Like that's where it originated from.
Yeah, Games Workshop.
Yeah. Speaking of Warhammer, this was also shown Space Marine 2, which honestly looks fucking sick. Is that on purpose, Co? Because
I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude, you should look at this. Yeah. Look how insane this looks. Like they're using the World War Z
Gears
engine.
Of War,
yeah,
but you're a Chaos Marine.
They're using the World War Z engine to put up 1,000 creatures on the screen at once, and it works so fucking well. Like the gameplay looks phenomenal in this. And it is really much, it is Gears of War. Like your character has that bulkiness to him and walks through and you just like slice through a billion mobs. But it's incredible. I think there's multiple videos out there of like 15 minutes of just raw footage. Skill Up put a video out if that's your fancy, and they all said it was phenomenal to play and had a blast with it. This was the turning point for me where I was like, okay, this looks fun. I'm on board with this. It's very parry focused and all of this stuff. When you're fighting the Tyranids, you have to like, I think if you do a successful parry, you get armor on some of the bigger guys, and then you can just like mash through all the little guys. It looks like mindless fun and looks like a good time. And definitely a big improvement, I think, on the first one. So, Dan,
the first one was still fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was great fun.
There wasn't any glaring issues with it.
I remember playing the first one on Justin TV back when they introduced the Smork emote for it. Like it was an experience. It was really, really fun, but this looks like leaps and bounds like bigger and broader than that game. And I just want to go through and just tear shit up. It seems like it's going to be one of the best just like swarm games in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really putting that engine to work in the best way possible, away from a zombie game and into like a proper Warhammer power fantasy of just fighting thousands and thousands of mobs at once. So it's looking really good. Definitely go check out the gameplay video if you haven't seen it yet.
Is it single player only, or is there any co-op?
I think it does have co-op.
Ooh.
Chat, can you confirm for that? I want to say it has 3-person co-op. Yeah, 3-player co-op. Wow. So definitely a game to jump in with friends on. Confirmed. That is that. What else has happened this past week? How's everyone feel about Black Myth Wukong? Where are we?
Good.
Yeah. Are we in the looking good camp?
Got to play more, but looking good.
I'll pull up this. This was from the GamesCom showing of it. I don't know how to feel about this game. I feel like we've seen it forever. I feel like it's one of those games you just never, like, I don't know if we'll ever actually play this still to this day, even after seeing as much as we've seen. But it looks very pretty, right? Like it's a fantastic looking game. I just want to see if we can play it one day. Strippin, you've played a lot of these type of games. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I love the genre. I'll check it out. It's just we've been looking at footage of it for so long.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I want to be able, like it, when they go on too long like this, my interest wanes, no matter how good the trailer is. So I would like to play it soon.
Yeah.
Or something's gonna come along that's gonna take my interest more, and then that'll be that.
Sure. Let me tell you about a game called Pantheon: Rise of the Fallen.
Where they just string you along.
It's been like 10 years.
Oh God. Yeah.
Anyway.
Been there.
It looks great though. It looks really cool. I just give me the game.
Yeah.
Stop honey dicking me. Is
devs do be
relatable.
They do be honey dicking. Strippin.
They do be honey dicking. Yes,
they really do.
They do be.
Dan, any thoughts on Black Myth Wukong?
I think it looks great. The main character looks like he's just monkeying around the whole time, but other than that,
it's thanks, Dan.
God damn it.
It looks fantastic. Like some mix of Dark Souls and little Ghost of Tsushima. Like it looks like it's gonna be good if we ever get to play it, like you guys said.
Yeah.
No hints of release date or any type of release window.
Yeah.
It's been around a long time.
I mean, it is at this point, like there's so many NVIDIA marketing videos around it that I wonder if they will just pay for it to be finished. Yeah. So they could say like, guys, look what our graphics cards could do.
It's kind of like the new Fable. It's like the Fable has been talked about for so long. It's like, I just want to play it already. Can I like play it yet?
Sure. Yeah.
These trailers look great, but I want to like play it someday.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
one day.
We'll see. See if we ever play it. We'll see what happens. Yesterday, TennoCon happened. I think most of us watched it. Strippin, did you check out TennoCon?
I did not.
Okay, Strippin was not watching, so this is all first news for him. We'll start with the Soulframe. This game looks wild.
Looks good, man.
Ways. Yeah. It's a long ways out. I feel like 2 or 3 years out, probably still. I hope the combat, that was my biggest issue with it, is the combat looked basic. But
it looked basic and it looked clunky.
Yeah, we're a ways out, so they can always work on that. But environment-wise,
locky.
Yeah, 100%. Environment-wise, vibe-wise, it looked and felt exactly like all the best parts of Warframe, but in a like fantasy world. And I'm on board.
And more importantly, in a different container, where with Warframe we have like the super fast-paced, like shooty gun. Like this one seems like slower, more RPG focused. I mean, he was like walking through environments. Warframe players like, what's that? What do you do with your feet there? It's like a completely different feel.
Yeah.
The boss felt a little soulsy in terms of like, you're sitting there waiting for it to attack, you're dodging, you're getting like it was a very different take on the kind of Warframe loop.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I actually said during TennoCon, it's like, I wonder how Warframe players are gonna like this. I mean, this is a
great point.
Feel. But at the same time, dude, this stuff here, like gorgeous. And I think you just nailed it when you said the vibe. Like, it's kind of impressive that a game they claim only been in development for a year. I think it's probably been a little longer.
Yeah.
But it already has what I would say a very unique voice. Like the music during the very last fight and like the way they were presenting things and the camera work. I mean, it's definitely a vibe. It is a very unique vibe, which is surprising considering that, like, it's probably in the same engine. It's, similar team, and like it's looking good, man. Looking good.
Yeah. They did say it was co-op chat. Go ahead, Dan.
One thing I'm like super excited about is like, I love Warframe, but I feel like Warframe's been out for 10 years and I always feel super behind whenever I play. Whereas when this comes out, we'll all be able to start fresh with everyone, which is going to be a great feeling. So I won't feel overwhelmed or like I missed out on 10 years of stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a great point. Big Zelda vibes, especially from this, where he's straight up playing like a small little flute and having to repeat it. Are these supposed to be like warp points? That's what I took from this. Do you guys have a different take? Are these
now? This part was interesting because I'm 90% sure that when the player did this and saw that scene with the little girl, that's the little girl that shows up during the boss fight. So I think this was like a precursor. It seems like this, like Steve said in the presentation, apparently this the theme of this game is like nothing is irredeemable, you know, like a lot of saving things and things like that. So my guess is that whenever you fight or encounter stuff, you're going to be like finding a scene like this about them, a redeemable aspect of them. And then once you find that, you can actually go encounter them in their current, more dilapidated state kind of thing. So like, I'm pretty sure that little adorable thing there is the giant ass elk at the end.
Yeah. And that's the girl as well. That's the boss fight. Yeah.
Back when they were pure and innocent.
Yeah. I don't know how co-op's going to work into this. Cause it is co-op. This is what they showed was like a very solo experience. They did show. Oh,
yeah. Remember they showed co-op in the underground area. That was co-op.
I thought. Oh, okay. I thought that was just an NPC. That was another person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's good. Maybe I guess that's where you jump in, and not through this stuff. I will.
Yeah. You bring up a good point though. There was a lot of stuff in this that felt very single player RPG, and like how are they going to have multiple people do this in parallel? Like,
yeah,
is it just going to be like where one person does it and the other person watches kind of thing? Like they have some decisions to make in that regard because they didn't show any of that in this. They didn't show any like, you know, they just had a guy drop in and fight alongside him for a little bit and then disappear. The co-op guy wasn't in the boss fight. Are they going to balance every boss fight to be solo co-op? Like, how's it going to work? Like, it's brings up questions for sure.
Yeah. The other thing too is they talked about the hub. But in Warframe, it's you like load into the missions. This was very much like a linear, longer progression through what looked like some sort of, I don't want to use the term open world, but it looked like a larger world, a larger environment than what you get in Warframes, which is kind of like, not arena, but there's smaller levels, smaller areas for you to traverse. So I don't know if this is going to be just a bigger area that you're going to load into or...
This might be a collection of what Warframe uses as open world environments now.
So, like sure.
So I'm guessing they maybe we'll see like that part in the underground dungeon area. Maybe that's the tile set version. Like Warframe has open world and they have tile set.
Yeah.
Tile set corridor. So maybe we kind of saw a little bit of hint to that, but it does look like most of the cool parts at least happened in like an open world environment.
Yeah. Yeah,
sure. I felt like the Duviri paradox was almost testing like stuff they're going to use in this game, like
could be
having the open world, big fields, like the way you load from one area to another. I feel like it's going to be something like that. Like it'll be big open world, but like loading screens in some places.
Yeah, yeah, that might be right.
Absolutely,
and that I think Duviri, for those that haven't played it, was fine. Like I enjoyed that aspect of it. So if it's more of that, then I'm on board. It's just the combat was a little basic, and I hope that changes.
I immediately was turned off seeing them start attacks and having them plant their feet until the animation was done. That's like that never feels good in a melee system.
Yeah,
it never really does. Like even it works if your entire game is balanced around it. I like a Souls-like maybe, but in a game kind of that's coming from something like Warframe, that's felt like a step back in a lot of ways in terms of fluid movement and fluid interaction. So hopefully they work on that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Strippin, any first takes on this? Seeing it for the first time?
I mean, it looks cool. They did say, I think, that the game was going to be slower than Warframe.
Yes.
I just hope it's not too slow because I think one of Warframe's appeals is how fluid you can get with the movement, and it's like almost a learned skill. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think they're very much like the Warframe devs are a lot like the PoE devs, and it's like they're more than happy to just trial and error stuff. And I think we'll see a lot of that, where it's like, hey, let's try this. And it's like, oh, you don't really like that. Try this. But eventually they end up with like this amazing game. But it's like, it definitely is a process. So I'm definitely excited to jump in and check it out.
Yeah,
I just realized it is kind of interesting the tangents between Warframe to Soulframe as PoE to PoE 2. Like they're both trying to take like a slower approach on their main game. They're both going through like this big reset. They're both kind of changing how things work a little bit in the next one. Like not quite to the degree of PoE 1 and PoE 2, but it is it's kind of cool. They're both kind of working in parallel a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, that would. I'd love to have
keeping the first game running as well.
Right, yeah. I'd love to see the devs talk to each other about that because there probably is a ton of shared experience there.
That'd make a great podcast, man.
Yeah, they should do
UE devs and the Warframe devs.
They should definitely
that'd be super interesting to just listen to
the
them.
Darkest Dungeon devs in there too, man.
Yeah, I guess Darkest Dungeon 1 and Darkest Dungeon 2 definitely different in that regard.
And graphically, I was like, I can't believe this is a free-to-play game. This looks stunning for being a free-to-play game. It just looks gorgeous.
Yeah. They, I think, didn't Steve Sinclair, I think is his last name, who is the head or the lead on that game, was talking about how they have a new lighting engine in the Warframe. And then Rebecca, the creative director, I forget all the titles there, said that they are using that engine, the new lighting engine, in the new Warframe content coming out. So there's shared assets there, which is cool. And yeah, it is gorgeous. Yeah, and then let's talk about the Warframe
content,
stuff.
Man. Oh my lord, dude! That was crazy.
Can we just jump? Can we skip the first part and just jump to 1999?
Yeah.
Even though the first part looked great,
it looked
great.
The
first part looked awesome.
But it didn't have fucking 9-inch nails playing. It's the intro song. This is Warframe 1999, which is coming 1999, which is coming in 2024. And this was like classic TennoCon, where it's just this crazy bombastic trailer where the entire player base is like, I don't have a fucking clue what the hell just happened, but I'm on board. They've got like actual 9-inch nails playing right now in the trailer, which I'm not going to unmute. But it's from an album that 9-inch nails actually released in 1999. And it looks absolutely insane. It looks like some sort of
Dark Sector.
Yeah, it's Dark Sector. Well, it's 8 years before the events of Dark Sector, though, right? Because didn't Dark Sector come out in 2007, I think, or take place in 2007? But there's like references to it's all over the place. It was wild.
Yeah.
Regardless. And I just want to know like what it means. Like, is this supposed to be? There's like an old computer that they type into. So is that supposed to be like the player transferencing into like the Matrix or some shit? And we're playing through memories I don't know. I don't really know.
Who knows, man?
It seemed to me like they were plugging into whatever that thing that was sleeping was. It was like waking up as they were typing stuff in there. And maybe you're like going through that creature's memories, which happens to be this guy who looks like he is one of the Warframes. Like his moves are part of it.
Yeah.
I was just like blown away. Like imagine playing Warframe where everything is like 1999 tech and looks and like real world Earth. I wonder like how big is this going to be? How much will I see? Will there be open world areas? Like just so many questions. Like I got really excited at this part.
Yeah, it was very, very hype to see it all kind of just. I said this yesterday during the sponsor stream. Like you never know what's going to be shown at TennoCon because they've shown such wild. I mean, one year was like Railjack. Here is like spaceship fighting, and that came out, and it is what it is. But when it first showed, like, fucking bananas. And that's every year, or not every year because of COVID, but whenever they do TennoCon, they show crazy stuff, and you never know what to expect and where they're going to take the game. And now it's like, are we going to get more time travel shit? Are we going to go like further back in are they going to jump forward in time? Is this even time travel? Is it just memory stuff? I don't know, but it's exciting. Right? Like,
yeah, and I will say it's super weird that the dude in the current timeline, or the past, current, future, past timeline, the guy that was in the Warframe universe, was using the computer from 1999.
Yes,
that is super weird.
Yes,
like that. We know that. Like that's not a weird memory. Like even the player, I think was using it at one point. So that, which brings like Warframe with a direct connection to our world. Like the whole thing is just freaking crazy, man. It's freaking crazy. I can't wait to see what direction they're going with it.
Very curious to see where the story goes for with maybe even the wildest part out of this, the next 10 years of Warframe, which is like,
well, apparently according to Reb, it's going to be forever. So
she did say it was a forever game, but this Warframe's existed for 10 years. Which very few games can say that, especially live service games. I mean, this is like one of the original live service games. And they're still continuing to put out like crazy content that makes people freak out when they see it. So excited to see what this turns into and what this looks like in next year. And then, like we mentioned, what was the name of the other thing, which looked crazy to begin with, that they showed before this? For Warframe, it was like this year's expansion. It had a name, Whispers in the Wall. There we go.
Yeah.
That looked really cool too, with giant like open spaces in it. So definitely check that stuff out if you have not seen it. Is that it? There's small tidbits. SteamWorld Build got a release date code. Did you see that?
Which one?
SteamWorld Build.
No, I didn't see that.
That's December. So we got a December game.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
You need to start fleshing out November, December.
Yes.
Like we're gonna be finishing up. Us Cyberpunkers will be finishing up our run probably mid to late October.
Yeah.
So then we got TwitchCon for those of us that are going to that. So then we need to fill up November and December.
Yeah.
Granted, it would also
1st.
be nice to have a couple months to do all the games that have come out over the last month and the next month.
Dude,
There's been so many good games that have come out.
I'm looking forward to a break.
Yeah, looking forward to a break. Absolutely.
I need to just take I'm curious, how many hours have you guys streamed this month? Because I looked at that last night. This is, I think, the highest month I've streamed ever. Not barring the subathon I did.
That would be August.
It'll be one of my highest. I don't want to look.
I looked and it was like, that's not healthy. I think I've streamed 10 hours every single day is what it averages out to.
Yeah, getting through Baldur's Gate was a lot of streaming and long hours.
Yeah,
to get it done. It was it's rare that a game is so good that you can just do a 12-hour stream and not feel like a 12-hour stream, because the game was just so good.
Yeah.
270.
Holy shit, that's 40 more than me. That's too much streaming.
Wait, where do I see this?
Go to overview and then just like look at August. Do you realize how many fucking that's literally 10 hours a day, There's been 27 days.
228.
Yeah, I'm at 230.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm at 222.
Okay.
Yo, BG3 is really good, y'all.
I think we can all agree that we all work a little too much.
Yeah,
I definitely had like a week where what I did was me and my wife have had a lot of discussions in the months leading up to this, and I was like, baby, there's 2 games coming out this year that I've been waiting for like 10 years apiece, in some cases longer. Like I'm gonna take like a week off for each of them. And she was like, you know what? Okay, so like, yeah, I love you, like, but exactly.
I'm going to war. Like,
dude, I basically like we laid the groundwork. You know, I gave her like a bunch of weekends before. You know, helped out more than I would normally around the house and stuff. So that and Starfield. So I'm doing the same thing for Starfield. So like I'm buckling up and taking another week, week off for Starfield.
Is 270 just on one channel? Because you have 2 channels.
No, it's both combined.
Oh, it's both combined.
204 and 66 are what I'm looking at.
Okay, all right. Yep. I mean, it still adds together, but yeah, that's wild. Yeah, and Starfield we're 5 days away. I guess at this point.
4 days. 4 days.
4 sleeps.
4 sleeps.
What was that? What was that tweet they just put out? They said if you visit one planet a day.
That was Dan's tweet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dan said that.
Yeah.
He's kind of a big deal, Strippin.
Yeah.
I think I saw someone's.
Finish the thought. What was the full tweet?
It'd take you like 3 years or something to finish the game.
2.27 years, I think, if you finish every planet, or if you visit a planet a day. That was the tweet, right, Dan?
Yeah, just one a day. 2.74 years.
My goal is about 600 planets a day.
There you go. Just gotta hop around.
I have to admit, I'm so interested. Just a random little tangent here. I'm so interested to explore that mechanic. Like, are they actually going to make it so all those planets have even one thing interesting and unique on them? Or is it going to be like there's going to be 20 planets with fun stuff and then just procedural desert of like random repeating
Mass Effect style, where it's like, hey, 3 of these planets have like a tiny bit of gas on you.
I'm worried it's going to be very Daggerfall, where like it randomly generates in ways that it's impossible to navigate and stuff. Daggerfall used some early like random generation tech, and I wonder how improved they are over the last 20 years since then.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, people, and I'm sure, Dan, you're getting this a lot too, because I know you're doing a big 100% run of Starfield too. And people keep asking me, like, you say you're doing a 100% run of Starfield, like, what does that mean with all these planets? And my answer to them is the same every time. I'm going to fully and fundamentally explore the planet procedural system. And we are going to keep doing that until we stop finding unique things. That's where, like, once we've seen everything that system has to offer, I feel like that's doing everything there is to offer in the system. But if it's a kind of thing where, you know, the last 3 planets were all the same outpost, before that, those last 2 planets were the same, like, find all the flora missions. Like, once you've done every mission, like, 3 or 4 times, at that point, it's just like, you're done. There's nothing new to see. You're just spinning your wheels, wasting your time at that point.
So how much do you guys want to know about all the stuff that, like, Todd and I'm blanking, who's the studio head of Bethesda? Pete Hines. They did a lot of interviews talking about a lot of stuff that's in the game. Do you guys
We're going to be watching all of those on the 30th.
Okay. There's we won't go into the nitty-gritty then. But, like, on the topic of planets, they said that modders will be able to make whole planets.
Super cool.
So, like, what does that mean?
They're also going to be able to appropriate planets.
Yeah.
So if there's, like, a specific planet that's deemed as, like, a, you know, like a procedural whatever, like, a modder can take that planet and, like, add a whole bunch of stuff to it, which makes sense. I mean, that, you know, I think that's, like, one of the first thing a modder would probably want to do is, you know, how do I make Mos Eisley? You know, like, I think it's gonna be that's gonna be a very cool thing to see.
Yeah,
someone will make a mod where you can land in Skyrim in that game. Yep. You'll just land and then you'll be inside of Skyrim.
A whole Elder Scrolls solar system where each planet is just a different game. Absolutely.
I'd be so angry, and I'm not
zones. Oh God, it's gonna be fun.
Let Skyrim die. Let it die.
Never Strippin. Bethesda
this game has been re-released 48 times.
Todd, like,
Skyrim DLC.
Todd sneezes into his $100 bills. Yeah. No,
it's not dying. It's not dying. Yeah, some of there's just, like, some little snippets that he said. Pete Hines in the interview said he accidentally got sucked into the vacuum of space because he boarded an enemy ship and then the pilot took off. So that seems wild.
Todd said that a long time ago.
Certain companions will get annoyed with you even if you do bad things, even companions who are really close to you. Here's an interesting one. New Game Plus relates to the main story, so he couldn't say a word about it. He says it's different from most New Game Plus mechanics, and it is rather, quote, special.
It's different from New Game Plus mechanics, but it's exactly like No Man's Sky. We're going to get to the end, and it's going to let you rebirth the universe.
Yeah.
If you want to. Yeah. It's gonna be, dude, if they actually pull a No Man's Sky with the ending, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know.
Unless you're No Man's Sky, and then it's depressing.
And then you're upset.
I know, right?
And
then it's gonna be like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like,
yeah.
Wait a second.
He even said that the game doesn't really even begin until you finish the main quest. That's when
I saw that line. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That was what? That is such a loaded statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a loaded statement because that infers where it's like there were things you couldn't do before finishing the story. That infers there is an end game. And it's like, what does that even mean?
Especially
like, what is an end
game? Yeah.
Yeah.
Blizzard said that about Diablo 4, guys. I don't know.
I like how we've got, like, 2 massive VS or Bethesda heads here, and then Strippin's the voice of reality. It's like, guys, they've been saying this shit for years. Shut the fuck up.
No, I mean, Strippin's right. Strippin's totally right.
Everyone says this shit.
There's 100% chance that it's just a marketing term. 100% chance. But if he actually is speaking the truth, that's a really strange thing to say.
Like, you guys deserve to be happy, and I want you to be happy.
Thank you.
I love it. It's great. It's great. I'm so excited to see what happens one way or the other.
Someone in chat. Well, Todd says a lot of things. Todd does say a lot of things. And now Pete say a lot of things.
Pete says a lot. Pete was out there, and this actually, I think Pete said this because there were a lot of leaks that said this, and so he came out and said the people who are playing the PC play the PC game that have it early said the performance is smooth, and it's we'll What was the direct quote that it's the least buggiest game they've ever released?
Or least buggy Starfield game. The rumors coming out are that, and the kind of snippets coming out was that multiple reviewers have done double-digit hour playthroughs and not seen a bug.
Yeah.
Is that true? Obviously, nobody knows. But that's the stuff making the rounds.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
feat.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
I do hope
yeah.
There's been a bug in every one of their games since Morrowind, is that the longer you play, the more buggy your game gets because everything gets saved into your save, and the save starts getting massive. And when it starts getting huge, it starts causing more problems. So I hope that they've fixed that finally after 30 years. And that if we were playing like 200 hours, if it's still like a smooth experience or it starts snowballing and getting bad.
Yeah.
We'll see. Apparently, we are just now getting to the point where reviewers are starting to let it slide that they have completed the main campaign. So,
really?
Well, I'm sure we'll start seeing more and more interesting things as time goes on.
I had one of my friends comment on this, but the amount of people that have willingly broken NDA for this game is staggering.
Dude,
one guy got arrested for it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. There was a guy uploaded 45 minutes of the game on social media, and he was booked on felony charges.
To be fair, the reason he was booked on felony charges is because he stole physical copies.
Right.
So they actually got him on they got him. It's not like they got him for leaking Starfield. They got him on theft.
Well,
so like that.
Yeah. The story's actually a lot more wild than that because the initial charge was that in possession of marijuana in Tennessee. And then they searched his house and saw that he had $2,500 to $10,000 worth of stolen property. Well, half of which included, or a good portion of which included, boxed copies of Starfield, which he was selling for upwards of $650 a pop. So it's a whole fucking thing.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah. But
yeah,
man, Starfield.
Did anyone see? I don't know if it was a joke, but hit the video that he made about Starfield.
I did not. What did
okay, I'm not gonna say it because I'm not sure if it's real.
Okay, all right, yeah, better not.
Yeah, it looked like I'm not even gonna get into it.
Okay, all right. It was wild.
I'm very curious if it was real.
Yeah.
Oh, it was real. Really?
Well, then what is it? Say it. Just
it's some guy, and he's just got a phone. Allegedly. Full disclaimer. Allegedly, it was a guy. And he was basically just looking into his phone. He's like, "Yo, I got these copies of Starfield, and it's pretty good. Y'all done good, Todd. Like y'all did good." Like that was the video. Like, y'all are gonna like this.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
The gentleman looked like he may have been partaking at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
Which was more power to him. Absolutely. Yeah. Man, Tyrone. Man. Absolutely.
Whew. Where are you guys at? I mean, this is the last check-in we'll have in terms of pre-Starfield. Where's the hype level at for you?
I got to admit, I've been going in not expecting a lot. I was expecting a traditional Bethesda cluster for a release. We're actually hearing more and more about how this might actually be awesome. I'm starting to accept there might be a reality where Starfield hype and the release actually line up. It's crazy to think there could be a world where everyone's talking about Starfield in a week and not Baldur's Gate 3 anymore. There's a whole lot of copium involved and a whole lot of huff in it, but I mean, I'm still tempering stuff. I'm still doing my best to remain grounded, but I'm pretty fucking excited, JP.
Yeah, no, I know if I'm hype, tough. And I know if I'm like hype on this, you and Dan are just like trying to keep it in. It's starting to burst at the seams a little bit for you guys.
I'm playing this game where I'm like doing my best to like maintain realism and not flip out like a 5-year-old kid on Christmas Eve. Like it's this like penduluming back and forth between these.
I think we call that a charade where I'm from.
That's the English
charade.
The English term for it is that's a charade.
Yeah,
charade.
You're pretending. You're pretending you're cool. But you're not.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Okay, I was like, is that like I didn't got chat from? I thought it was a British thing. But yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm trying to pretend that I'm fine with everything, but I'm really just kind of flipping out and not helping.
Okay.
This is my this game is what. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, you about the same spot?
I need to stop talking.
I've been a follower of the Church of Todd for a long time, and
oh God, that's a terrible way to start.
He's the vow.
We get games from him so rarely, and
Deacon Daniel over here.
I've been excited for this game for so long just because it's a Bethesda game, and like I've been through all the bad ones and the terrible launches. I was expecting it to be really, pretty shaky, but everything I'm hearing, like giving out early release copies, people are like leaking little tidbits that it's like really good. It gives me like even more excited than usual that this might be the first one that just works. Like it'll just work on the first day, which will be amazing. Like, and mods will just make it better instead of having to fix it and then make it better, like in the past. So I am like ecstatic because it takes him so long to make one of these games. The last one was Fallout 4 that Todd made. So it's been like 6 years, and then the most exciting part about Starfield coming out is it's going to be amazing. But once they release Starfield, they're going to start on Elder Scrolls 6, and I'm going to lose my goddamn mind when they finally show that game in the future, because I've been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6 since 2011, and I'm just going to be so happy when it comes out.
I'm the guy that I'm right there on Dan's heels, except for the next one, because like then they can start working on Elder Scrolls 6, and then they can announce Fallout 5.
Fallout 5, yep, was coming after that.
Because they generally announce their next thing while they're working on one thing.
Yes.
So like we might actually get like a Fallout 5 trailer soon.
For me, I think I'm having the midlife crisis because I'm like, we're gonna be 50 when that game comes out.
Yep.
That is
we'll be lucky if we're 50 by the time Fallout 5 comes out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That retirement home drop frames episode.
That's right. Yeah, we're all gonna be in our. I'm already in my wheelchair. I can't walk after falling down the stairs. But yeah, we'll be there. We'll be hanging out. It'll be great. Strippin, I'm not gonna leave you out. Where are you at with your hype levels of Starfield?
Strippin's like this game.
I did not give two shits about Starfield until maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
I was like, I just couldn't care. I'm not super into space games. I liked Mass Effect a lot, but I think the thing I liked most about Mass Effect was the RPG elements. I'm not super big on space games. Star Citizen felt disappointing. No Man's Sky, I think it's okay, but again, like I think I'm just not big on space games. There's a lot of elements I enjoy about it. So it's like Fallout in space or whatever. I'm like, that's cool, but I'm more excited about not in space. So we'll see how much is in space in Starfield. I don't know. I'm excited to play it, but I'm not part of the House of Todd at all.
Okay. Don't have your annual membership.
I have pamphlets if you want one.
Yeah, no, I'll take one. The way that I made Fallout 4 fun was I just did like wacky, really stupid builds. Right?
Yeah.
I just try and like have fun with the games. So I'll probably apply that to this and just try and have fun with it. And see how wacky I can get with it.
See what happens.
Kind of, yeah. I'm very open to checking out and seeing how good it's going to be.
Let's. Where do you guys think review scores hit? We did this with Baldur's Gate, and we were all absolutely wrong. We all lowballed it. Actually, with Baldur's Gate.
We all lowballed it.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed pre Baldur's Gate that the world would take that much of a shining to a CRPG.
I think you said low 80s. I said high 80s, and Zeke said low 90s, and it was I think it's a 97.
Oh yeah,
some shit like
there was a time when it was the highest. Oh wait, what is it now?
Did it drop?
Oh, that chat's saying their guesses for Starfield. Yeah, I think there was a drop at one point.
96 is what chat's saying.
Still amazing. So for Starfield, I think late 80s, high 90s.
Ooh, okay. I might be the low ball. Well, Strippin is on the show. Strippin
late 80s, high 90s.
Yeah, for the Metacritic,
between
overall
88
Metacritic.
and 92. I think between 88 and 92.
Oh, low 90s. Okay. I would say low 90s.
Dan, where
I don't think they're allowed to go. I don't think they're allowed to go lower. I think they'll get it in the neck.
Okay.
I would say probably 100 because Todd can do no wrong.
Okay. All right. Dan's full on the Kool-Aid.
I'm guessing probably like low to mid 90s. That's my guess. Low to mid 90s.
I'm gonna go mid.
It's like 102, 103. You know.
Yeah. It might be me keeping expectations low, so I am pleasantly surprised, but I'm going to go mid-80s.
I'll go 90 on the nose.
Okay.
90 on the nose. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh God. We lowball BG3, and I hope we're not all highballing Scott.
We highball this because of BG3.
Oh no! Oh man!
Oh God!
Oh man!
It's happening.
That's
oh God!
Guys,
no hold on. That whole fucking article about keeping expectations in check about BG3 for AAA games was just real right here because we all said it's going to be incredible because of BG3. Fuck.
Honestly,
they were right.
I think the only thing we can do is burn down Larian. I think that's the only thing we can do. I think
too much power. They got too much
power. Like we need to get him out of here.
Sven's got to go.
Sven's got to go.
He's got to go.
If we do it
too much
now,
passion,
we make
too high a bar.
We do it now, we make a martyr out of them, and they get more power.
Oh, fuck!
No.
That's right.
You fucked up.
All right, look, hold on.
We all hope they destroy themselves.
No,
guys, let's pool. I got $3.50. Let's pool it and buy Larian.
We got to buy.
We can just drive
either
to the
we
ground.
have to buy Larian or Phil's got to buy Larian. Those are the only two things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll get them to make Redfall 2.
There you go. And then their downfall happens.
Beautiful.
That's the plan.
Done. Okay.
That's the plan.
I'm in.
Well, now on that note of depression and sadness, did you guys hear about this BioWare layoff that happened?
Oh man,
they had a bunch of cutbacks recently, and quote, let go of the lead writer behind Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and the first 3 Dragon Age games.
Meanwhile, Larian is like,
yeah.
Like, would you like a job, sir?
Would you like a job?
Yeah.
Dude, it's just
50 employees approximately, around 20% of the total workforce.
And obviously they were probably mostly working on the new Dragon Age.
Yeah.
And which we have gotten devoidly little information on for a good period of time now. So even an already troubled showing becoming even more concerning. Not a great look. Not a great look.
Yeah, not
very
at all.
commonplace though, isn't it, to get rid of the writers when the writing is finished? That kind of approach.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, like, is the writing finished on whatever they're working on?
So, yeah, I was gonna say there's two things in game dev. It's relatively normal once a project position is fully done, for the devs of those positions to leave the company, especially if they're not like already thinking about making a sequel. So it's normal. Like for a game to wrap up.
That's also not 20% of the work.
Not only is it not 20%, it's not normal to do that when your game doesn't have a release date in sight.
Yeah.
When there's not even like this is much more indicative of something going potentially wrong, or maybe they're going a different direction again. Yeah, exactly. Like it's
the funding for the dev window.
It's one thing when the project's winding down and it's like a handshake, you did your job, awesome, go find a better job somewhere else. But this is a little, and 50 people at once, like, yeah, dude.
They're supposed to be working simultaneously on Dragon Age and Mass Effect right now.
Yeah.
So it's not a good sign when you're working on 2 games to be shortening your staff instead of growing it. So it makes me worried about BioWare as a whole. Like, maybe EA is going to do what EA does, which is sometimes randomly just shut the doors on it. They've done it with many companies, and I'm really worried that one day we're going to get that news article that BioWare is shut down.
BioWare is getting shuttered. Yep, and that they're selling the IPs or moving them to other studios.
I mean, how many
EA has?
Go ahead. I'll think about my thought.
I was going to say EA has this tradition of acquiring companies and then doing everything they can to cost cut way below the point of how they, where they can consistently deliver quality. And then when they stop delivering quality, surprise, due to all this other stuff, then they cut them loose, exactly like Dan said. So we've seen that multiple times, and it's so unfortunate. Loose,
and then they keep the IP.
A lot of times. And then they mothball the IPs, which is even more concerning and frustrating. Yeah. So it's because then the gamers don't get these great IPs we love. But to think that could happen to BioWare, like, is just like, I mean, I think when just saying that name, I think is one of those nostalgic things where, especially as older people, think about all the amazing BioWare games over the years. To think that happened to BioWare is just, it's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
You like fall in love with these companies when like you were growing up as a kid and we were playing like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age and Mass Effect and like growing up and with these games and they just become part of our life and then they're just one day not what they used to be and then they're gone. It's sad. It's been happening to a lot of companies lately that they've gotten too big and then they just lose their way and then they're not the same anymore.
Yeah. What's really interesting is to think about is every company has at least one Sven. Every company has at least one person who champions the ideals and the, but we don't always hear about them. We don't always hear about these people. So it's kind of crazy that I bet almost assuredly for all these big companies that we've seen fall from grace, if you had full access to the information when people left the companies and stuff like this, I bet almost every one of them has a moment where if you find like when a certain person or a certain group of people leave the company, like that's the moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's when the company no longer was the company. They became like, that's when the soul left the body kind of thing.
For BioWare, it was 3 gentlemen called the Doctors. They were in charge of, they were all doctors and they all started BioWare to make these great games like Baldur's Gate and then Mass Effect stuff. They were in charge of like most of the games and they left about 5 to 10 years ago, all 3 of them eventually. And ever since they've been gone, it's been not great for BioWare in terms of.
I'm going to be real.
Name. Yeah.
I thought you were joking at first. You're serious? There was like
no, he's talking about like Ray Mazuka and yeah, they're all doctors. They're all like licensed physicians. Real folks.
Interesting. Yeah. That's crazy. Is that pre or post Anthem?
I think it's right after Mass Effect 3 they started leaving one after
the definitely pre-Anthem, right?
Yeah. Pre-Anthem in that case.
Pre-Anthem.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Interesting.
BioWare was a medical company when it first started? Is that real?
No, there was just doctors that wanted to make games.
No, like, but Chad is saying that it was founded as a...
Oh, really?
I mean, the name checks out.
They had created a medical simulation program. The 3 also played video games for recreation, eventually deciding to develop their own. The success in the medical field provided them with funding they needed to launch a video game company. To make the first game, they pulled their resources together, which launched the capital of $100,000. The company was incorporated on February 1st, 1995, and then formally launched on the 22nd of May, 1995. And that's when they made Shattered Steel, which was their proof of concept demo, similar to MechWarrior. Huh.
It just shows like they were all in positions to like have very steady careers as doctors, but they just loved games and they just wanted to make games instead. And that they went with their dream and made some of the best games they've ever made.
Yeah. I had no idea. That's wild. We all learned something there. I think if we don't talk Armored Core 6, we might start getting revolts in chat. So let's talk Armored Core 6. Oh, yeah. It's probably a big release of the week. I have not played it yet because I watched Strippin fight a boss for 5 hours and I'm scared. But apparently that's not the case. I also have just been too busy with other things. Dan and Co, I think, have both played it. No one's finished it. How do we handle spoilers? Do we just not talk about bosses?
Well, it's interesting because it turns out there's no story in the game. So there's not much to spoil.
Okay. Great. Fantastic. It sounds like a perfect game for me. How is it? Like I have not played a single second of it. Strip, and I made the joke that you were stuck on a boss. You maybe have the most experience with it so far. How are you enjoying Armored Core 6? You know what it means.
Yes, I was stuck on a boss and I overcame it like true gamers do. And then I like 1 or 2 attempted every other boss.
Yeah.
It made me stronger. Okay.
So
this game, in FromSoft games, they're famous for being technically difficult, hard games. And what that normally means is once you learn the kind of attack pattern of a boss, then you can solve the riddle. And Armored Core is very different from that. Armored Core is like the puzzle is your build. And so a lot of the times, in order to beat a boss or a fight, you need to look at your build, and you might need to go back and replay some levels and grind some money and buy new guns. You can sell like all of your guns and armor for the same price you bought them at, so you can kind of experiment a lot with your builds. And they encourage it a lot as well. You can kind of change guns if you fail a mission. That you can just change guns and go straight back in, that kind of stuff. If you're like me, though, you pick a build and then you say, no matter what, I'm going to beat the game with this build, and I refuse to change.
The old
classic
Souls special.
That's right. That's classic Souls gameplay right there.
That is why I spent 5 hours on the second boss. And many other people have spent longer on this boss.
People don't even get to this boss. They're dying on the first
helicopter.
Boss, the helicopter. Yeah,
giving up on the tutorial boss. Yeah, because it is insane. But yeah,
little side thing, real quick. I got my ass kicked so hard by the helicopter boss the first time I fought him. You can watch in my VOD where I'm like, okay, that was a scripted death.
Yeah, a lot of people. I've seen that exact. Yeah,
and then it came up and it's like restart, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
It comes up and it's retry. And then it was like,
oh, okay, I guess.
So
I think that happened to literally everyone I watched.
So
yeah,
I don't want to I don't want the conversation to be like, is the game really that hard? But it like that's what I've seen the conversation on Twitter, and all the conversation about the game is like, man, I died a lot.
It's got hurdles.
Yeah,
it's got hurdles. Mm-hmm. The whole game is absolutely not that hard, but there are certainly hurdles. There are certain bosses, there are certain events, there are certain arena opponents where it's like the general population has to spend a little more time on these. But it's just like nothing's unbeatable. I mean,
it's not unfair.
Yeah. And for the record, and this is super important to mention, and I'm sure Strippin has probably learned this since then. This game loves you trying different things on bosses. I know it kind of breaks people outside of their comfort zone, but when you die, you can re-kit your mech completely with parts you own, and then go right back in at the checkpoint before the boss to fight him again. So, if you're having an issue with a boss that has a ton of long range attacks, it's like, cool, I need to spec close range and get right up on his ass. Let me respec after this death and try that. Oh, that didn't work. Let me try a bunch of missiles this time. Oh, that didn't work. Let me try dual shotguns this time. Oh, that didn't work. So you can just like really quick and really easy to shake things up. You can even save and load different like builds. So you can like have a little list of builds that you want to like throw against bosses and just see which one sticks the best, and then fine tune that to work for you. It is very much a finding the right tool for the job kind of game. And if you don't, you might spend 5 hours on a boss.
Or you're resistant to changing. You might spend 5 hours.
The other interesting element is everyone struggles on different bosses in this game because everyone just has a different playstyle in Armored Core. And so a boss that I got stuck on for 5 hours, one of my friends beat it first try. But he got stuck on a different boss for 4 hours, and I beat it second try. So it's like this very like weird like the way you play, you'll encounter just hurdles naturally that will stop you specifically.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different.
It sounds like Souls, right? Like I feel like that exact story was shared for Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean this was their first love. So like there's a lot of like nods to this game in Souls games. Or this franchise, I mean.
Right.
It also just goes to show you how well the developers made like counter bosses, essentially. Like, you're just cruising through the game and everything's fine. Well, the boss is like, well, this boss is a counter to your build, so you can't do that anymore. And it's like sometimes, just like Strippin said, you'll cruise up until the 7th boss. Sometimes you'll cruise up until the 1st boss. Sometimes you'll cruise up to the 5th boss. And as long as you're kind of willing to shake things up a little bit, you'll just keep cruising, which is what's great about this game. Every time I come into a boss where I get my ass kicked, the first thing I do is start trying different builds and different things. And I have yet to spend more than half an hour on a boss. And it's only because every time I get to some place I'm having issues, I just start trying different stuff. And 9 times out of 10, the boss has like a weakness to something. Like it may be really strong at one thing, but it's probably got like a pretty significant weakness to another. One boss I got slaughtered on a few times. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to get in his face and, do everything I can to just get right up in his weak point and stick there. And then I beat him without like using a health kit next time. So it's very much just don't get too comfortable and you will have a great big stompy robot time in the game.
Also, all the bosses are super cool and unique, and they all have like multiple phases, and there's no story. It's just like be a robot and fight robots and enjoy it, and it's great.
There's no story at all. Fun. There's not even like a loose narrative.
There's a loose narrative.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go ahead, Strippin. What are you getting in front of so far, story wise?
Every Armored Core game kind of like resets the canon. They're always they're like a little bit similar, but different. So this is like it's like derelict world, fighting over resources. They do that every time, and then you get like this. They introduce this new narrative element, which is like what they've done in this game. So I am interested in it. I'm going through it, but all of the story just comes from like people sending you text messages. Is kind of like how it kind of plays out. And then a lot of the big reveals are like you'll just encounter something in a mission. Some of the cool stuff that happen is they branch the story. So like there'll be 2 missions, and it'll be like if you pick one, you can't do the other one.
Oh.
And so that kind of like splits the gameplay up. Like
you can still watch the briefing for both of them, and then you can pick.
Yes, you can watch the briefing and pick. One of my friends did one mission, so I was like, I'll do the other one, and it ended up being a boss that he never encountered or saw. Because I ended up doing a different mission, and it kind of locks it out. So there's like different things you can pursue. Also, the way the game works is New Game Plus and New Game Plus 2. There's new missions and items and armors and weapons. And so the game is like designed to be replayed multiple times if you actually want to like get all the lore and stuff like that and the story.
Yeah.
So that's another element of it as well. They deliberately don't give you everything in your first playthrough.
Sure. Dan, how much time have you spent with it?
I spent a couple hours. I was getting a little frustrated because I was not switching mechs. I was playing.
I'm right there with you and Strippin, man. That's gonna be me.
Doing like Dark Souls. I will take this club and I'll beat every boss with it, no matter how much long it takes. You know.
Accurate.
But
yeah.
I didn't know you could switch in the middle of a boss fight, like Code just said. So I'm gonna try that. Like, if I'm getting stuck, I will switch to a different mech because that sounds like incredibly useful.
Oh, you don't have to restart the level. You can just like swap.
No, you can swap at the checkpoint.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So you can get up to a boss, die on it, and then before you retry the boss again, which is literally right in front of it, you can then go into your already acquired parts and switch out everything to be a different build.
Got it. Yeah.
That sounds great. That's a game changer.
It does have to be parts you
like a game of rock, kind of like a game of rock paper scissors. Like if you're scissors and you're fighting a rock, you might have to switch to a paper build to like counter it.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Or you could be really stubborn and you'll be like, I'm going to break this rock with my blunt scissors. And fight it for 5 hours.
Yeah. That's
play how you want.
That's probably me, and probably why I've shied away from it, because I'm enjoying my happiness for a while.
Yeah, but the feeling you get when you finally,
I know.
You know, when you beat that sucker, it's still as good. It's still just
chasing the dragon, man.
Very good, because you earned it.
Oh yeah.
It's Go ahead.
You could be like my friend Lolman. He made a build that was so overpowered that he one-shot every boss and every enemy and didn't have a single obstacle in the entire game. So
that was probably a dual shotgun.
Never changed his build. He went as tanky as possible with the tank legs, and then had 4 shotguns, 2 on his shoulders and 2 on his hands.
Apparently, that's the meta. If you want an easy time, go shotguns.
It's kind of like the Dark Souls meta
everything
in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And he said it was super fun, and he didn't care. So if you ever get stuck and you need help, that's the play.
Okay.
God forbid you have fun in the game.
Yeah. No, you gotta make it as hard as possible.
Yeah, more power to you.
If you're a coward, I guess put the tank legs on and grab some shotguns.
I do want to say this though. They're like I kind of make fun of the game for not having a story. Granted, I'm like almost 7 hours in now, and there's the way that it works is you are a merc and you're constantly taking contracts from all the different factions on the planet. So it doesn't really feel like there's a story, especially at the beginning, because your perspective is always changing. So it's kind of like there's a main thread, but where in a normal game you would play a character along the thread. You're playing different perspectives looking at the thread. So the story's there. You just kind of have to be constantly realigning your perspective. I mean, a lot of times you will do a mission to blow up a fuel facility, And then your next mission is like, oh, you know that the people that were running that fuel facility now want you to go blow up the other guy's fuel facility. And then you go blow him up, and he's like, yeah, so they're pissed at the guy that did the first time, so you're gonna go kill them again. And it's like, and while that's going on, there's like other little snips of, you know, world lore and planet lore and, you know, things that are occurring that may not directly affect you. From what I've been told, it does become a lot more focused on delivering a narrative as you get closer to the end. And then it even goes into the new game
more
plus
about
stuff.
you and less fly on the wall.
Yes, exactly. And also there's even more story stuff apparently in the new game plus and plus stuff.
Yeah.
So you know, there is a story there. It's just a little light at the beginning. All about the gameplay. Thankfully, the gameplay in this game is amazing.
It's good, though, 'cause it does a bit of world building, I think.
It does. Yeah. Very, very From Software in that regard.
And that's maybe the next question I have is like the fantasy of driving a mech and feeling like a badass. Is that present? And is it a strong like fantasy? Can you expect that from this?
You will not experience the fantasy in this concentrated dose anywhere else.
Okay,
it's the best version.
It's the purest form, so I can make my my what is it, green and purple Eva and just
the robot customization is off the scale. You can individually color every piece, every gun. You can make emblems by hand. You name your robot, you name your pilot. You can have custom emblems.
You could make a giant,
so good,
flesh-colored mech that's covered with "It Me Happy" icons and decals,
head to toe,
and that's literally the entire mech.
All right,
there you go. No, to answer your question, yeah, it's 100% big snappy robot fantasy, and there's no other game that, in my opinion, has delivered an experience for mech fans like this in a long time. Like these games, there's been some that have tried to do this kind of stuff, but I mean, it's awesome, dude. If you're a mecha fan, like this is the game to play.
One of my buddies is a huge Gundam fan, and he just made a Gundam.
Yeah,
just straight up, like same color scheme, everything.
There you go.
That's
named
awesome.
It, having a blast.
Yeah.
My one complaint is do not care about multiplayer like I would like them to care about multiplayer.
Oh, you played the multiplayer online? The mode?
I've done it. I did like 6 hours of PvP. I did like 3v3s and all that other stuff.
Wow.
Really fun. The only way you can do it is just to make a custom lobby and fill it up. Like there's no
matchmaking or anything?
I just wish there was like a matchmaking system where it was like you take this mech you made and you queue up, right? And you get in these 1v1s and like you have something to show for like there's like a level of skill progression that you can see happening. And it's just something to do when the game is done, you know, and you've beat the game 3 times and it's like, yeah, I'll focus on the PvP side of things. They just don't really care about that. It's like just find a guy and join a lobby and play him a few times. So I feel like there could be a lot more longevity in the game if there was something like that. For me personally,
sure,
it's still fun, but having to like, you know, make a little lobby and get people to join and stuff is like
kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, if you're not a streamer, how does that happen? Right? Like that's a process.
Exactly.
It's a process. Sorry, I was distracted. Dan posted, apparently there's mods.
Yes.
And you can have this as your mech.
You can play as the main character from San Andreas, but you have guns on your arms.
Okay.
Why would you want this?
Why wouldn't you want that? Here we go again, man.
Oh my God. We're gonna get big nude anime girls in this game.
You're gonna get all the VTubers as mechs.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get all the.
Man.
What's that gacha game where the girls turn into boat stripping? I know you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Get the boat girls. Get them out there.
Oh God. Azure Lane.
There you go.
Azure Lane.
You're gonna get all the Azure Lane gacha mods. It's gonna be 10 out of 10. Boy. Yeah, I'm gonna check the game out tomorrow. I have no feelings of finishing it though before Starfield, so it might be a game that I revisit or just unfortunately never complete. I feel like it's maybe they did the best they could with the launch frame, and I think unless you played it right at launch, it's like almost impossible to fit it in after BG3 and before Starfield. Totally, this is like a streamer centric issue. If you're just playing games, play whatever you want, but for me, it's like I don't think I can finish it before Starfield. So
the great thing about like Armored Core though is it's a game you just pick up in a game drought. And
yeah,
you're like it's December. There's nothing to play. I'm gonna hop on Armored Core 6.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have 20 hours of fun.
And it might be better from the business side of things too, because people are not watching it.
It's not like with Baldur's Gate, you feel the need to finish because spoilers start hitting the internet and they're everywhere and you can't avoid them and everyone's excited about it. With Armored Core, it's like this game is super fun, but no one's gonna tell you, the plot. They're just gonna talk about how cool the mechs are.
Yeah.
So you can just play it whenever you want.
This is my favorite game to play amongst streamers is Did You Get This Swag? Did you guys get your Armored Core hot sauce?
Yes.
No.
The Fires of Iris. A hot sauce.
Ibis.
Ibis. Sorry. My eyes don't work well. I'm old. I need to get them checked. Is it Ibis or Ibis? Because it's like a
Ibis.
It's Ibis. Okay.
All right. Well, we see who should have gotten the hot sauce.
It was
I haven't
definitely
played the game yet.
EU didn't get any hot sauce. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, the hot sauce was not available in EU. Dan got it.
It wasn't at EU.
Dan,
I want to try it. Is it good?
I've not tried it yet. Funny
Neither
enough,
of them have tried it.
I'm not not a big hot sauce. It's got.
Try it right now.
I will not crack the seal on this because it is a collector's item, and I don't like hot sauce.
It's not a collector's item.
I get really bad heart.
I like how the truth slipped out
right here.
It's got. I don't think it's that hot. It's got bell and habanero pepper, butternut squash, apple cider vinegar, onion, sweet potato, New York honey, garlic,
New York honey. Sorry.
Yeah. It's apparently made by Karma Sauce in Rochester, New York.
Sounds delicious.
So, yeah, might be pretty good.
Is Dan gonna try it?
Dan, are you trying it?
I can't have spicy food because I got really bad heartburn. So
there you go.
They sent it to me as a joke, I think.
To mock you.
Just to mock you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I love it. Well, great. That's Armored Core 6. What I really want to talk about is Skull and Bones, because both me and Dan, did you jump into Skull and Bones?
No, I didn't get a chance to try it.
Strippin, did you do Skull and Bones? Did they throw a sponsored stream your way for that?
No, thank God.
Okay. Co did a sponsored stream. I, for some reason, did a non-sponsored stream for it. Pretty much because it was viewer bait. But let's talk about Skull and Bones, man. That's a game that you can play in closed beta right now. I didn't think it was that terrible. I didn't think it was by any means incredible. But yeah, it is a game that you could play, and it's pretty basic. Co explained it to me when I asked him if I should check it out, and you were like, "It's pretty basic," and that's what it's pretty
that's
basic.
the word.
Yeah.
That's the word with Skull and Bones.
Pretty basic.
It is basic, and the issue with that is that this is a game that has a lot of baggage. This is a game that's undergone multiple reworks. It's been in development for like 7 years. It's supposed to be the AC4 Black Flag ship combat game that we all wanted, and not only the problem is that. And I think is it also $60? Are they planning on $60?
Yeah, that was a big conversation. I think it might be 70. I'll look.
Oh my God. But here's the problem. Everything I just mentioned, there's a bar that represents expectations. And everything I just mentioned raises the bar. Where it's like, okay, based on a beloved part of AC4 Black Flag. Okay,
it's 70.
Well, people already liked it, so it's gotta be good. 7 years development. Well, obviously they spent a lot of time on it, so it should be good. Multiple reworks based on community feedback. At the beginning, it shows like 10 dev teams that have worked on it. It's like, how many people can work on a game?
That's right.
So it just keeps adding more and more to like what you expect from this product. And what you get is this super basic, super surface level. A lot of mechanics don't feel very well thought out. Harvesting is super basic. There's no crew management of any kind. Ships have like just a health bar and a couple weak points, and you just blast that down. There's a woman that yells at you just all the time about everything. Like, how does that make it in 7 years of development? It's just the whole game. It feels like a game that has been in development for 6 years, or not 6 years, 6 months. And it was just somebody that walked in and said, hey, see that AC4 Black Flag thing? See that game called Sea of Thieves? Just like jam those together and give them something.
It's like you went into a restaurant that had been hyped up for years and you waited an hour and a half for your food and they brought you out McDonald's fries.
Sort of. And for the record, the reason I say the Sea of Thieves
I'm
is
curious
not because it's like
Sea
of Thieves. Yeah. It's because it's a multiplayer social, relatively shallow experience. Okay. Yeah. Like it is designed to just have people be able to jump in, have a suit. Every character is just like trademark pirate. Blah, 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 blah. Like it's so basic. Everything about it is basic. It's not unfun. Like it's just like just floating around. The water's pretty. Some of the graphics are good. Like it you blow up ships and you zoom in and you explode in big Michael Bay booms and like it's not unfun. It's just, again, that bar, the expectations for this product are high. Like I think a lot of people were like me, where they were like, oh dude, you're gonna take the AC4 system and make a game out of it. Am I gonna see the cannonballs rip through the hulls? Am I gonna get an expansive deep system and customizing my ship? Are you gonna take everything that was and make it more? And the answer is no. We're gonna take all that and make a casual multiplayer game that's arguably almost as shallow as the one in the game with Assassin's Creed. Like they didn't, it's just basic. It's basic. It's basic.
It
so
is.
That's the problem.
Does it feel like they must have had a bunch of systems and then they scrapped them and they
so the game has been like rebooted like 3 times internally. It used to be a 5v5. Yeah. Like here's the best way to describe it. This game was like originated so long ago that it used to be a MOBA. Like this came out when people were making MOBAs, right? Like that was the era.
I don't even know what to do with that information. Like I don't even know how to process.
That was the first iteration of this game, was a 5v5 MOBA. When people made MOBA games, I would say MOBA more because it's fun to say, but like that's how old it is, right? And so now when you play it and like it's a very easy game to hate on because of all of the baggage, like Ko said, that came with it. And that was like true throughout my entire time streaming it, was people would just enter into the stream and the first like take, kind of because I was doing this bullshit, but the first take is like, wow, this game fucking sucks. And they've been watching for 5 seconds because they know everything about the game's issues before even seeing the game, right? Like it's the IP is so
the
tarnished.
Expectations.
Yeah, the expectation and the IP is so tarnished at this point that there's nothing they could do to, like, this game could be fucking incredible and the expectation would be like, man, this game sucks the first second they see it. And then
to charge $70.
That's also wild. That is crazy.
It's just like, I do not understand what they are thinking with that.
Yeah. This is a $20 or $30 game. In my opinion. Are you
purposely moving very weirdly, or is the game doing that?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. I
made the most, realize that when he moves, it looks weird. So then he kept moving to make it look weird.
Yeah, because it made me laugh.
Now, Necropolis says, I watched a streamer who's been playing all weekend and has been having a great time.
Totally.
If you just focus on the parts that are decently fun about this game, like if you just float around and shoot other people. Let me actually
put myself in a ship.
Here we go. Yeah, see, like this part, it actually does. It looks great. Like if you just focus on the parts that are decent at this, like I said, it's a basic play with friends shooting boat adventure game. Like that's the biggest issue with this game is not that it is a decent ship combat game. It is that it is a title with baggage and now huge expectation. So that's
for that viewer, I would say I enjoy playing gacha games. Doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah, I guess that could apply here. It doesn't do anything bad, right? And I think
the boarding is actually terrible.
Well, the boarding is one button, and that's 100% because they didn't make.
Yeah,
they didn't want to take the assassin. Here's what this game is. If you took the ship combat from AC4 and then you removed Assassin's Creed from it, that's what this game is.
Yeah.
100%.
But I mean, like, for instance, like the boarding, like imagine, how cool would it be if you had an actual crew that you could recruit that had stats and you could give them weapons and that it at least did some kind of loose role, you versus the other crew. But it's not that at all. It's so basic that it's just get that ship's health bar to a certain level, tap a button when you're near it, you'll see one cutscene. It's always the same cutscene of you shooting a lock off a chest, and you can be killed while the cutscene's playing.
Yes, you can.
And it's just like
Wait,
$70, 7 years. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the same cutscene every time. And it's like, again, $70, 7 years of development. This is how you're going to do boarding in a game that's literally focused on ship combat. Like, that's, there's so many interesting things you could do to make that interesting and flavorful and at least somewhat, immersive. Maybe like 2 cutscenes.
There's a lot of things where I think you can have a conversation, you can debate back and forth, but you cannot. There is no argument in which this game is $70. None. Like it's fucking wild that this is a $70 game. It should be like a Ubisoft Plus game. It should be a $30 game. It should be a Game Pass game. Like $70 for this is crazy. Especially, it's not in the game now, but one of the most like fleshed out systems, or fleshed out is a weird term. One of the more, the system that I saw had the most like content in it is the fact that you can dress your pirate up. They're 1000% going to make all of that MTXable. They're going to be selling like outfits from the jump in this, in a $70 game. And that's where it's like, yeah, they could have like dropped the price a little bit. Like that's wild. Also, don't hate on my fashion sense, guys. My pirate is on fleek. Okay. He is very well dressed with his man.
I thoroughly appreciate your drip.
Yes. My drip is incredible. It's just incredible.
The most frustrating part about this is that Assassin's Creed Black Flag is right there. Like it's right there. You made this game that was amazing. Everyone loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Make another one. Just make the same game but multiplayer. It's like, come on.
And and in some ways, it's like, how did you take that part of the game and after 7 years make it worse?
Yeah.
Like how does that happen? Yeah. How does that happen? It's very strange. It's very strange. Some of it, again, we have to bring this full circle. Some of it's fine. Some of it's fine. Like some of it's even arguably good. The water looks great, and sometimes the combat clicks. If you're into like just basic health bar goes down, shoot the glowing red area. Like it's okay. But yeah, there's big parts of this game that kind of, if you can't really focus on those parts, if you don't really like those parts, the negatives stick out like a sore thumb and the whole picture kind of falls apart a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and this is just from me seeing this. I did not have a sponsored stream for it, but it's also weird for people that did have a sponsored stream for it, and Code, love your input on this. You guys didn't have any way to like, typically when you do a sponsored stream, it's like click the link down below, check it out. You can sign up for closed beta and get access. There's no way for like people watching this to play right now. It's completely closed beta. And so
we were told, and what's even stranger though is we were told closed beta with dates. So we were actually given like 25th to, I think the beta closes down today.
I think it's today. Yeah.
So so we were told like it's in closed beta from 25 to 27, but we didn't have like a link to sign up or anything like that. So I'm not entirely sure what the premise was on that.
And there's no release date for the game, right? Except for next year.
The other part that's really weird about this game is that, a lot of times I would play a game like this and I would see the parts. And again, this just goes back to that bar analogy from earlier. I would see things that I like in a game like this. And I would be like, okay, those parts are cool. And then I would look at the parts that I didn't like and I would go, well, maybe I can just focus on the good parts because, the game's in closed beta, it's still being developed, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing about this game is that it's been retooled completely twice. It's been being developed based on user feedback for actual years now. Nothing major is going to change anymore. Like this is it. You know what I mean? Like it's not a situation where it's like, if you like some of the stuff and don't like others, they'll fix that. It's kind of like, no, this is like that boarding system. That's the boarding system. That's what's going to happen. Every time I boarded a ship, it kind of killed the game a little more for me in terms of like wanting to put lots of time into it. And it's kind of like, and I said at the end, like, hey, maybe if they retool the boarding system, and a lot of people very astutely in chat were like, dude, they would have done it already by now.
Probably.
If they were gonna do it, it would have been done. It's just not where we are. So it was a weird feeling with this game because it wasn't like one of those situations where it's like, hey, maybe they'll fix this. It's like, no, I think they would have already at this point, you know?
Yeah. It's a very weird game.
Yeah. It's a weird situation.
Is it going to be a games as a live service?
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's going to be $70, and then I think also have a store.
I think they have.
I don't know. You know, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if they've really announced that.
I want to say they have a season. Let me go look because I was just looking at I want to say there's a season pass if you buy the deluxe edition.
So wait, they're going to have a store, a $70 product, and a season pass.
Let me see.
Okay, let's try to get the right information for this. I feel like we should make sure that's proper.
I'm looking at the GameStop. Let me go to the it's Uplay, right? If you buy it on Uplay,
does that have a release date yet?
No, it just says pre-order available, register for closed beta. What happens when I click pre-order available? Available day one with Ubisoft Plus editions. So if you buy the premium edition, you get the Smuggler Pass token. You get extra missions, includes 2 additional missions, includes the Ballad of Bloody Bones collection. I don't know what that is. What is the Smuggler Pass? Is that the Smuggler Pass token unlocks a premium battle pass and additional content, usable when new seasons release. So they're doing
battle pass. They're
doing what Diablo 4 did, where you get a battle pass token with the expensive version, and then you can buy into a battle pass. Same thing that Destiny does as well. It's there's precedent for that. It's not just them. But yeah, weird game. Weird game. It's
Baldur's Gate 3 did this, man.
What do you mean? You can't just say that, Strippin.
No. I think he's right. I think it's Baldur's Gate 3's fault.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's right.
And set the bar way too high.
It really did.
Yeah.
This is your fault.
This dev team knew that 6 years ago, and it killed their drive.
Yep, completely.
Unbelievable.
Slaughtered it.
Look, we got 14 minutes to talk about another winner. Immortals of Aveum? Immortals of
Aveum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The latest news I saw on that was that it peaked at 783 players on Steam. Multi-platform release, but if you are to judge a game by Steam numbers, that's where it peaked.
It's probably how many people they sponsored to play it.
I saw a lot of people did stream for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was one of them.
Yeah. How is it? What is who wants to talk, and I'll show gameplay of it from their stream.
It was just very like okay. It felt like the magic more felt like you felt like you were just playing a shooter and you were just holding your arm out the whole time, which was very awkward. You're just like this the whole time, just shooting stuff out of your hand, like all the time. Like my arm got tired just thinking about it. But I don't. It had like a okay story. It had a decent graphics. The performance was okay. It just was missing something to give you like that, like something to bite into to want to keep playing it long term. It just felt kind of like an okay shooter. Like nothing really felt like Wizard or Magic. It just felt like I'm playing a shooter. And the most interesting part of the game was that there was puzzles around to solve. Those were kind of fun. Like there's little puzzles you use magic to move stuff around, the treasure chests everywhere. But outside of that, it was just very okay. And I didn't really felt like I didn't have that when I was finished playing it. I didn't feel like I wanted to keep going, which is always a problem in a game. When you play a game, you want the game to make you feel like you don't want to stop playing it. But for this one, I just felt like when I finished my 4 hours, I was like, I'm good. I don't think I'm fine with this. I don't feel like I need to keep going with it.
It was a 4-hour sponsored stream?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, mine was too.
2 different days, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, for chat, the reason I'm reacting is I know what that cost. That's crazy for how much this game sold. Holy shit.
It's $7. $2 $350.
Yeah, $350.
Man. Cody, you have any different takes on Immortals? Or pretty much echo?
I unfortunately had some technical issues, which meant I couldn't use my mouse comfortably, so I had to play with a controller.
Oh.
Ooh.
And that was definitely a thing for me. Apparently, they have a patch coming out they did a few days when I played after to do it. That was as somebody who does not generally ever play FPSs with controllers, it was a bit jarring for me. That being said, Gina Torres was amazing, as she always is. I think that the main actor for the main guy was pretty good. Yeah, the actor. She was clearly mocap too. The thing that's interesting about this game is that this is a game by Ascendant Studios, which is a smaller dev team that was founded by some members that actually left EA. So it's kind of like an EA-ish team, and then it's published by EA.
Yeah.
So this game is interesting in a very specific way. You can tell that this dev team had access to really good AAA tech. The faces and the mocap look awesome. The people they brought in were really good. But the issue, and actually the gameplay is pretty good too. It feels kind of like a cross between like a fast first-person shooter and like a Hexen thing. You've got like 2 spells you can cast on your triggers. You can switch between 3 colors. Like a whole itemization system where you can choose like what spells, how they're altered in different ways. There's a full stat system. There's rings. There's some interesting stuff in this game. The problem is that where some parts of the game look really good and feel pretty good, there's other parts of the game that are much more lacking. Like the actual story and the way the story is presented to you, they're these big like schisms where things just like large events happen, but your character just like flashes between them. Also, they took this very Forspoken-y, sassy approach with the character, where he's constantly cracking like not great jokes, and he's being kind of sarcastic the whole time, and he's definitely going for this vibe. That combined with the kind of hip-hoppy, dubsteppy music was not really doing it for me. I feel like that Forspoken kind of showed me that that's really not my thing much anymore, and this game kind of confirmed that in a lot of ways. There were a lot of little things that I noticed too, where it's like, they charge $60 for the game, but if you walk up to 2 NPCs that are standing in front of each other, they just sit there and stare at each other. Again, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is ruining gaming.
So
this is crazy.
It's the kind of thing where, there was a lot about this game that felt fine and felt AAA and felt good. And then there was like the day one performance issues, my mouse issues, the world not very feeling good. Like for instance, not to spoil it a little bit, but the dude starts out as this sassy guy and a whole bunch of events happen. And then right at the beginning of the game, and again, I don't want to spoil Immortals for you, but right at the beginning of the game,
it's beginning.
He basically joins the army, and there's a 5-year time skip.
Huh.
And in 5 years, in the military, the dude doesn't change at all. He's the exact same sassy kid that he was at the beginning. And I think anyone that's even slightly familiar with a military can tell you that after 5 years, that might have a bit of an effect on you, even if it's a tiny little thing. He also is going from a teenager to a young adult. So it's kind of like, there's all these things where it's just like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Sure. And
you kind of keep seeing that over and over, where it's just like, this doesn't, like, there's no real immersion of any kind here. Something will happen and they'll be like, yeah, I need to go to my big coronation. Let me just walk down this road. And the whole road is full of enemies. It's like, they kind of explain that they're under attack, but it's just like, what's everyone else doing? It's like, there's just so many things about it where it's kind of like, maybe it kind of looked good on paper, but it's clear that nobody sat down with this game and went, let's make this believable. Let's make this like, so you're actually living in this world, that these characters truly exist. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like a sassy game, It like, I didn't leave it feeling any kind of like, oh man, that was good writing. That was a good sequence of events. That was like a cool character or a cool thing. Like, it was just like a bunch of one-liners and stuff that didn't connect very well, and scenes that kind of butted up against each other with no flow between them. It really kind of ruined the veneer for me, if that makes sense. So yeah.
And there's like good parts in there that I think some people will enjoy. I just think this is like a wait for a sale kind of game. Like I think 70 is just too much for in its current state.
Another 70. Okay.
People really like the gameplay. It does have some fun moments, like these little parts, these platforming sections and stuff were pretty fun.
I'd say the gameplay is the highlight. Like Dan said, like the gameplay is the highlight. Unfortunately, unlike AC6, it was definitely not good enough to carry the game for me. But it was a highlight for sure.
Yeah. Is this one of the, like Wild Hearts was a EA original? Is this also licensed the same way where it's an EA original?
Yes.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. Ascendant is the dev.
Yeah.
And EA is, and I do want to mention, this is Ascendant's first game. So for a first game, it's not a terrible first game. I've seen much, much worse games from first-time studios.
Sure.
I've seen a lot better too, but I've seen a lot worse many times. So I'm hopeful that this game, although from the numbers I'm not super sure if it is. I'm hopeful we'll see, like, for a first game it's not bad, and there's certainly some stuff in here that would lead me to believe, like, if they tighten things up, maybe, focused a bit more on the writing and delivery, like, it could be, pretty cool. One of the things I said in at the end of my sponsored playthrough is I think this game for me would have been significantly cooler if they had dropped the sassy angle. Like, if they tried to make, like, the world is cool. Like, some of the 3D modeling and, like, really creative magic ships and the armaments that they're using. Like, the world has this war that's been going on for as far as they remember. And they've been developing weaponry and, like, fine tuning it and stuff over there. Some of that's awesome. Like, there's some super cool, like, vehicles and armaments and, like, I feel like there's a lot in this game that got kind of, I don't want to say wasted, but I feel like it's not, the other parts drag it down to where, if this was a more somber, serious game that really focused on what made it cool, it could have been a lot better.
Sure. Yeah. Does, this strikes me as like the type of game that we don't really see anymore from like the 360 era of like a AA title. Does that sound about right? Would you call this like a AA, like not necessarily like a B, the equivalent of a B movie game type deal almost?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's a good way to put it. I certainly would not say it's a AAA.
Yeah.
By any stretch.
Yeah.
Some parts of it are AAA, like the face and mocapping and stuff like that. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it's ex-EA people being published by EA. They probably have a lot of access to that tech. Some parts feel AAA. Other parts vehemently do not. So, and to get a real AAA experience, you need the whole thing to be AAA. You need all parts of those to line up, and it just doesn't in this game.
Got it. All right. Immortals of Aveum. Got 751 all-time peak for a launch is rough. 397 players right now. So probably gonna see this on Game Pass. If it's not, is it on Game Pass? I wonder if it's on EA Pass or whatever they call whatever their game.
You get EA Pass with Game Pass now, so if they put it on there, then maybe.
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah, maybe so. Closing minutes of the show. Strippin. Anything else you've been playing? You want to bring up? Thanks to your ass, I'm fully addicted to Marvel Snap again. So thanks for that.
I snapped you.
You fucking
snapped
jackass.
You good. They did a big Twitch push, didn't they? And a lot of us were sponsored for it.
A lot of us were sponsored for it, Strippin.
In the EU, specifically EU. Don't worry about it, man.
No, the entirety of Twitch was sponsored, Strippin.
I turned down the Snap sponsorship.
Yeah.
I turned down the Immortals sponsorship.
They knew that they were gonna fucking get my money. They're like, we don't need to pay that dumb idiot.
So much money in that game that I needed some of it back. So I did the sponsor stream for it.
Collecting your dues. Yeah.
What else have we played?
We played SnowRunner, and I got the bug. I've been looking into it. This hardcore version that they've released, where basically you can't recover your vehicles. You have to pay money. The gas costs money. The repairs cost money. I think I'm gonna get into that. I'm ready to try some hardcore snow running.
That's a different breed of snow running.
Yeah, I want to do some trucking this week, I think.
Okay. All right.
Apart from that, I've been getting into Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I've been watching you play a lot of them.
Yeah, so I dabbled in Street Fighter 5 a little bit. Didn't do that great. Got to silver, gave up. So I was like, I'm gonna give it like a good college try. So I picked Jury, and I've been climbing the ranks every day. It's been fun just to like watch the improvement. It's my first like fighting game I'm really like trying in. I'm enjoying it a lot.
So I saw you were Platinum 4 when I tuned in.
Yeah.
Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm Plat 4 currently slowly making the climb, but the problem is that I grip controllers so hard that I bruise my hands if I play for too long.
Okay.
This is a very specific problem probably to me. But I squeeze controllers when I play.
Okay.
To the point where I like bruise my hands. And then I play the next day with bruised hands, and they get worse. And then they get worse. And then they get worse. And then Armored Core came out, and I played that for like 8 hours a day. And that's the same thing. So then now my hands are just like a hot mess. But I'm sure they'll be fine in like a day or two. I'll get back on it. They'll be stronger afterwards. You know, it's like their training montage for my fingers and the muscles.
Sure, yeah. That science works that way.
Man, I thought I was a hardcore streamer.
Wait, are you playing Street Fighter with a controller? You're not using a stick?
Yeah, I use a PS4 pad.
Really? Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
I thought you were a stick user.
No, I had a hitbox, and it was like too much for my brain. Couldn't do it.
It's a lot to process.
So I just, yeah,
a lot to process. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've been trying some Street Fighter. I'll probably do a little bit of SnowRunner. I got Armored Core on the menu, and then I'll probably check out Starfield. And if it's for me, then amazing. And if not, I got some other cool stuff to play. So
yeah. Still a lot of big games coming out this week. Sea of Stars, if you're into Chrono Trigger-ish JRPG stuff, I'm going to spend like a day with it, I guess, just to say, yep, I want to come back to that because Starfield's coming out. And I guess Mortal Kombat October? That's not September, right?
Later in the year. Yeah.
When is Mortal Kombat, Chad? Because did we talk about that last week, Co? That's September. I think we
did a little bit.
Or maybe I was doing Mortal Kombat after drop. That's what it was. I was doing Mortal Kombat after the show last week, and you had played it prior. So yeah, we did mention it. It's fun. Fatalities look awesome. We saw some more of that at Gamescom. Sindel is back, and she's got a fatality that cracks your nuts or something. So that's Mortal Kombat.
Crackery.
Yeah, that's Mortal Kombat. Trying to think what else? Anything else we need to bring up? There's been a lot.
There's a cute little game coming out called Under the Waves where you play like you go in a submarine and you also swim around and stuff. Looks kind of like a story-driven game set in like Subnautica.
Is that
kind
from
of gameplay?
Quantic? Oh, Quantic Dream's the publisher.
It's Quantic, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
Developing like it could be good. Parallel. Could be really indie. It has potential. Something different.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Looks interesting.
Sure. Yeah, that's on 29th, which is Tuesday. Bunch of big releases on Tuesday. And then Starfield early access on Thursday here in the States at 7. I think it's 12 a.m. GMT. So they put out a full thing. You can find out your local listings for that. But that's what is coming out next week on the show. Co is going to be in Starfield.
I'll be in space.
He'll be in space. Dan, I know I asked you if you wanted to be on. You said yes. We'll see if we do a show. I don't want to take you away from Starfield.
If I get to play more Starfield, I won't complain.
Yeah, it'll come down to me finding the 2 other folks that are willing to stop playing Starfield.
I will say this: if it becomes the kind of thing where I can play and just jump in a call. Like if you can't find anyone, like if I can do my show in Starfield, like we can talk. But you
get the
I'm sure you'll
radio.
Find exactly. What's up, guys? How you doing? No, I'm sure you'll find someone though. But
yeah.
Let me know if for some reason.
I will. I'll let you know for sure. And yeah, we'll figure it out. So tentatively, show is on for next week, and then the week after that, Zeke is back from Burning Man on. God, that'll already be the 10th. Already be a third of the way through fucking September by then. And then we're kind of just crushing along. Like I said, things really don't start slowing down till October, end of October. November, there's November has Call of Duty, and I think that's it. Like nothing. I don't think there's any other big releases in November off the top of my head. So.
All the companies want to get their games out by the holidays, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Dark and Darker just came out. Texas Chainsaw just came out.
Yeah, tons of multiplayer stuff.
I missed both of those, and I'm super sad because they're both awesome.
Yeah. Have you played much Dark and Darker, Strippin?
Yeah, I played a lot.
Yeah, good.
Same old. They introduced Warlock now, which is like the new test class. That's been kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We do November have Yakuza in November.
Oh, Yakuza. Gotcha.
And Super Mario RPG remake.
Same day as COD. I think that comes out October 20th, November 20th. What is that?
November 17th.
November 17th. Okay. There's something else that comes out the same day as that. Let me just look real quick. Oh, that's same day as Persona 5 Tactica. Is what it is. Call of Duty comes out the 10th of November, the week before. And that might be, if we're given the 13-week thing, that might also be PoE launch day on the 17th or the 10th of November. So, yeah. I bounced off. We didn't talk about PoE except for that 1 week. I bounced off of the league. They made some improvements to it, but it's PoE. My time with PoE every launch is getting shorter and shorter because there's just so many other fucking games right now. Right? Like, it was a terrible launch time for that league to come out, but we will see. Let's do some shout outs and call it a show. Hopefully I've got everything set up this time and Co's not doing dance shout outs again. Strippin, why don't you start us off? What are you up to? Where can people check you out?
Okay. Hey, Twitch.tv/Strippin.
You know what to do. This isn't like new information. You've been doing this for years.
Twitch.tv/Strippin. Make the right choice. See you there.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Dan,
make the right choice.
Do some shout outs, Dad.
I am DansGaming variety streamer. Starting at the end of this month, I will be nothing but a Starfield streamer for a while. So that's coming up. Thanks for having me on the show. Love hanging out with you guys. Strippin, JP, Co, all great people. And thanks for having me on the show.
Fantastic. Co, do some shout outs.
Hey, look at that. It's me. Anyway, as always, big thank you to JP. Well, I can't say Zeke. Huge thank you to Dan and Strippin. Always a pleasure to see you fine, beautiful gentlemen. My name is Co. Hi. We have AC6. We're going to be doing Cozy Quest in the evenings. Going to be doing that some more tonight. I got 50 today. And starting on the 30th, the morning of the 30th, if you want to get fully caught up with all things Starfield before we dive into early access on the 31st, we are going to spend the morning of the 30th going over like all the interviews, all the dev streams. Like I think we're going to watch the animated lore videos they released, which I haven't seen yet. We're going to be doing all of that at 8 a.m. on the 30th if you want to catch up. And then, of course, we will be diving in as early as possible on Friday when we get access to Starfield.
Thursday.
And I'm going to be taking Thursday. Yes, thank you, Thursday. And I'm going to be taking like a week for that. So I'll be probably doing like 12 to 15 hour streams every day for like Starfield. So buckle up. Thank you guys for watching. And I won't see you next week, but probably the week after.
Fantastic. That's it. Thank you all for watching. The VOD will be up over at youtube.com/itmeJP later, probably in about an hour. We'll see. It just takes however long YouTube wants to render. Strippin, you streaming after this? Are you done for the day?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the Final Fantasy 14 10-year anniversary.
Oh, well, there you go. Go check that out.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dan, are you done for the day? Are you streaming after this?
I'm done for the day.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go watch Strippin.
I got more Pokemon to do.
He's got to go catch his Pokemon.
I'm going to go run out there.
Yeah. Now, if you're given the choice between Pokemon going or sleeping, what do? Do you sleep?
I'm better at sleeping.
Okay, you're a better sleeper? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see about a show next week. I'll get with Dan. We'll figure it out. And we'll be here when we're here. Thank you all. We're out. Have a good one. Bye-bye.